What will we do with this moment? How will we be remembered? Look at the opportunities before us.
This election really isn't about the left versus the right. It's about we, the people, choosing our government and the choice between freedom versus tyranny.
Nobody has a chronic disease burden like we have. Why are we allowing this to happen to our children? Ultimately, the only thing that will save our country is if we choose to love our kids more than we hate each other.
What is going on here is deeper than politics. It is deeply spiritual. We are being called to rise above the hatred and the fear and the evil.
We need to remember above and beyond that we must love our neighbors, that we must treat other people as we hope to be treated.
You want to be a rebel? You want to be a hippie? You want to stick it to the man? Show up on your college campus and try calling yourself a conservative.
America is going to reach heights that it has never seen before. The future is going to be amazing!
You want healthy children. Don't you want a president that's going to make America healthy again?
Come to you today as a former Democrat. I will be a first-time Trump voter tonight.
The people dreamed this country, and it's the people who are making America great again.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
When I found out that I was actually going to be able to get an apartment, I was just like relieved. And it didn't really hit in until I walked in here and saw a kitchen table and a bed. And I was like, oh my God, you guys got me cups. It just had just enough to where I could bring in my own things. And then I started crying when I saw the bed because it's just very comforting. I'm like, oh, I get to stay here for a little while. So that was nice. And then we did hugs with the FEMA guys and Gordon, who helped me get in here. And then the dogs somehow knew that this was where we were going to be for a minute and had a band of a time. And I just sat in here and was just like, yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay for a minute. It's a great relief.
If you ever want to know why I voted for Donald Trump, take a look at Western North Carolina. In 4 months, our past administration couldn't do anything for these people for the hurricane that hit them on September 24th of 2024 this year. These people lost their homes, they lost their cars, their stores. There was no Walmarts to go and replace things. There was no Lowe's to go and get tools at. They lost their family. They lost everything in this flood. It took everything from them. It wiped out entire towns. And our past administration had the nerve to cut them a $750 check and wipe their hands, walked away. These people went in the freezing cold, sleeping on the grounds in tents with their babies. Some of them had newborn babies sleeping on the ground in tents with snow on the ground. Can you imagine? And in 2 days, President Trump has these people being transferred to fully furnished apartments. In 2 days. Our borders are being closed.
Thank you so much for joining us. So, Matt, how do you feel about President Trump not just visiting North Carolina today, but making it his first trip since returning to office?
So, Good morning for the early show. First time I've ever, well, no, I've done some early shows, but this one's a little bit different because we also have 2 interviews scheduled as well. So welcome. Thank you guys for getting up early, getting your coffee, your muffins, and coming on in, because I think we got a really good one for you today. So Donald Trump today is hitting 3 states today. In case you didn't know, he's on his way to North Carolina to visit all the victims up in Appalachia. Then he's heading out to California to visit the fire-ravaged areas of California and hopefully slap some sense into Newsom. And then he's going to make a stop in Nevada as well. And Melania is traveling with him. So he's hitting 3 states today, 3 states. And these people in North Carolina, and I'm pretty sure the people in California, are going to welcome Trump and welcome what he's going to do. As you just saw in that video, that woman has been outside since the hurricane. And she finally, after Trump gets in office, gets an apartment. What Biden and Kamala did is a travesty, an absolute travesty, how they treated Americans. And as you saw, the roundups have begun with all the illegals that have been, they knew them. The reason why these guys were easy pickings is because they knew where these people were, but they let them stay in the country anyway. It's amazing when you want to do something, when you want to help America, this is what you can do very quickly. Trump knew he was going to see success because he knew what he was going to be compared to. These guys, Biden and Kamala, didn't do squat. Unbelievable how fast things can turn around, which again is why I keep saying, and I want to underscore, it's likely when I say these guys, these Democrats may not win a major election for quite some time. They have nothing. But this isn't about them this morning. This is about the people who need help, who Trump's on his way to helping. So let's continue with this video. I'm on a tight time frame because Monica Paige is going to be on at 10:30 if she can get on and everything's okay at the White House with the production. And then at 11 o'clock, I've got Congressman William Timmons coming on, and he's a firebrand. You may not know him, but he's going to be talking about everything they plan on doing with the so-called January 6th committee, even though they've got pardons. So let's continue with North Carolina people.
I mean, it feels like we're finally being heard for the first time in 4 months. We've been yelling into the void, it feels like, for months that we still need help, And it was like, silence on the other end of the phone. And it just feels like it's very intentional that Trump is coming here, making it his first stop, that he cares, and that change is going to happen.
Aaron, it's been about 4 months, I can't believe it, since the storm hit. How would you describe the pace of recovery, and what is life like for people in your area right now?
I mean, the pace is a snail's pace. If you looked at the footage, I sent you guys all the footage from the day after the storm to now, but if you look at the footage from the day after the storm and you drive down my road right now, it looks almost exactly the same, add some snow. And these are bridges down. These are roads that have crumbled on one side. Debris everywhere, trees falling, trees hanging over roads. We definitely need a larger federal response to come in and help with some of these larger issues.
Yeah, and add the snow. It makes things so much more difficult. And Sean, Donald Trump has been in office since noon on Monday, but you say that you're already seeing some changes take place this week. Tell us about that. And do you think it's because of the new administration, or could it just be a coincidence?
Well, I mean, it'd be a terrible coincidence because, why would they help Trump, the outgoing administration? Basically, when he took office, they extended the stays to March or May, but it's a long time, which immediately let every relief organization start working on rebuilding instead of this crisis mode of every 3 days pulling the rug out on hotel people that have no other choice but to live in these hotels, and we're dealing with calls all night long. So yes, it's an immediate change.
And Sean, you said you spoke to J.D. Vance's team. Is that right? What was that conversation like?
They called me before J.D. Vance came down here and was like, what is going on the ground? And what's crazy is that he's the first politician that reached out to me directly And when he came in and gave a speech in North Carolina, he was speaking of the things that we talked about. And so it just meant that he listened. And that was the most important thing to me. And then they told me, we're coming. As soon as we get in power, we're going to come and we're going to take care of things. When I heard Trump say it in the inauguration, I realized this is true. This is actually happening. And but it wasn't. They didn't say much. They listened, and that's what we needed. Because they hadn't been here. What would they say other than like, "Hey, how you doing?" You know. So I really did appreciate that.
That's fantastic. You know, Matt, Sean brings up a good point. It really is all about communication and talking to the people on the ground and asking them, what do you need? So that's one of the reasons why Donald Trump is making this trip. So if he were to ask you, what do people need in North Carolina right now? What would you tell him? What do they need the most?
We need infrastructure help the most. Our roads are crumbling. We have bridges all along our road that are gone. People are still waiting on power. We need the infrastructure help from the federal government that the state is just too overwhelmed to provide right now. There is just way too much work to be done by the state. We need the national.
I mean, as you're watching this, can you believe this many months later, after the storm, this many months, these people are still going through it? It's as if Joe and Kamala and Mayorkas and everybody else just completely looked the other way. There is no other way you could possibly justify what has happened other than it being completely intentional. How did you just ignore an entire state? Just say, well, here's $700. Good luck. To me, it's almost criminal. To me, it should have been, he was at the end, but it should have been an impeachable offense. It's insulting to America. And the media is culpable as well. The media, which is why they're failing. By the way, Norah O'Donnell just got fired by CBS. Bye. In any event, that's why they're tanking. That's why people like me and Benny and all the other podcasters are actually making headway, because we talk about what people want to talk about, what they're going through. It's insane that these people have had to wait months for help.
Guard back, and we need, just in this video, you can see there's just debris everywhere.
This was yesterday.
We shot this yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And I know, Aaron, you're saying that people are in trailers with no electricity right now, and it's freezing cold. So clearly there is a great need in North Carolina. And like I said, the storm happened 4 months ago. We're in the dead of winter right now. So help can't happen soon enough. Donald Trump's a builder. He's a problem solver. So hopefully change is on your way.
FEMA is getting in the way of everything. And
now they're exactly right. Donald Trump is a builder. So if there's anyone who can help people rebuild from these storms, it's someone who knows what real estate development is all about. He understands exactly what they're going to need to rebuild. Unlike Biden, who probably had to make 15 calls to other people who had no idea so that they could find out, Trump walking in there is going to look. He can eyeball it and go, they're going to need this, they're going to need this, they're going to need this. Anyone who's been in real estate that long can tell you specifically what they're going to need to do to rehab and renovate that entire area. Even with my experience, not nearly at the level of Donald Trump, but I could literally walk into that town and go, they need this, they need this, they need this. It's going to cost this much. And I'm sure there are many, many, many contractors right there that Biden could have called and said, what are you guys going to need to get this fixed? My wife's brother is a major home builder right outside of Asheville. Could have given him a call. He builds, multi-million-dollar houses, beautiful, beautiful properties, beautiful commercial hospitals, everything. One call. They didn't call anybody. They let these people just completely waste away. It's insane.
The Democrats actually used FEMA not to help North Carolina.
It makes no sense.
So I'm stopping on Friday. I'm stopping in North Carolina, first stop, because those people were treated very badly by Democrats. And I'm stopping there. We're going to get that thing straightened out because they're still suffering from a hurricane from months ago. And then I'm going to go to California.
Mr. President! Mr. President! Mr. President! Mr. President!
Now, I don't know why they do these gaggles right near the helicopter. So I'm going to play it. It's him and Melania walking out, getting ready to go to the helicopter, and the blades are spinning. And they're going and going and going, which makes it really hard to hear. I did as much enhancing of the sound that I could without making it sound like, Weebles and Munchkins. But I tried to bring down the sound of the helicopter blade so you could actually hear something of what he has to say. When Monica comes on in about 10, 12 minutes, we'll ask her because she's in that group of people. In fact, I believe this is her video. And I'll ask her, but I think she took this video. So let's take a listen.
And Mr. President! Mr. President! Sir! Well, Mr. President! Wait, Mr. President! How are you, sir? Mr. President! Mr. President! Everybody. Sir, the March for Life. Sir, the March for So we're going to North Carolina. We're going to pause at Thursday week. Go out to that city and we're going to get us to Scott City. It's true that not months ago, as a hurricane that took place about 4 months ago. North Carolina, the community version has to see what's stopping there, like they're down to this 40 years and then they look at the fire there, a little bit now that they left the water as much as you use up the other stuff. I think it still happens for whatever reason you say. I think they're going to have to tell you to stop. I think Betty is going to go and brother. If you'd like to have a ride with the president, you must forgive us to you. Mr. President, what's your message to her? I'll tell you this is all. This is all. I don't know. Mr. President!
When Monica gets on, we'll ask her to interpret and say, what were these people saying and what was his answers? So don't worry too much about not being able to hear something because it's pretty bad.
This is the funny kind of stuff, Robert. You look have been nice with her. Are you all concerned about his prospects? Because whatever it is a good fan. I don't know what's going to happen. You never know those things, but he's a very, very good man. I hope he makes it. I hope he makes it. I'm just very surprised that Thomas and look out to the good on. Well, of course, this is always a no-go then, yes, but especially no-go. I'm not there, just a bit. Wacky, here, and wacky. Mr. President, the March for Life. I did a big push to the March for Life, and we look forward to seeing it. I'm going to be watching it, and J.C. Vance, our Vice President, is there, and he's going to be representing us very well. Taking place in a little while, and other than being a little bit cold, it's a beautiful day. What's the status of the drone report? What's the status of the drone report? Administration, let's set up. How will you review the country? Protect Blue Lives Matter and going forward. Oh boy, we're tied up. As you know, I think about the part, maybe the part being the 20, the people that were unjustly put in and having to do it so right. And they will be released and they'll be out very shortly. What's the status of the drone report? It's about that we need putting a break on this. Well, I like her very much. What's the status of the drone report? What's the status? Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you. Please come on the way. They did, they did. The boom, please. Oh, the boom. Maybe to the unit.
So I don't know why they do that. I'm gonna have to ask Monica. Why do they go out there right in front of this loud helicopter, this jet copter, which has basically jet engines that sound so loud? And if any of you people here are a pilot, why does it have to be running that early before he gets out there? I don't know. Maybe it has to get the engines warmed up. Not really sure. But in any event, it's almost impossible to hear what he has to say. You can hear what the reporters say because they're screaming. They are absolutely screaming. But we'll find out once Monica gets on here. So good morning. Trump is on his way. Some really heart-tugging stories about these people who've had to survive through the worst. Down here, we've been through a lot of hurricanes. Thank God we have a governor like Ron DeSantis. That's all I can say. I almost didn't want him to run for president because, dude, we need you here. This is what we need. You're a leader down here. Wait till 2028 or whenever and see what you can do. But I've been through hurricanes. Robin and I have been through some pretty strong hurricanes. And I've never seen anything like what's had to happen up in North Carolina. We live right down here on the coast. We've had flooding. We've had destruction. There's no way this thing should have taken this long. It is completely malpractice of a government to have let these people languish like this for months. And now we're in a winter and it's cold as hell. I got a heavy shirt on today because it's, believe it or not, 48 degrees here in South Florida this morning. 48 degrees. It may have warmed up some since then, but that's how cold it was when I had to take the dogs. 48 degrees. Let's see, it's warmed up to a nice, balmy 50. It's 50 right now. So imagine what these people in North Carolina are going through. All right, so while we're waiting for Monica, let's go ahead. Okay, he has to be on for pre-flight check. Okay. He got that from Reagan, I believe. If you don't like the question, act like you didn't hear it. Ashley's answering somebody about Roy Cooper was a complete turd, such a beta. We just got a new one, though. He's talking about the change of governors up there. Teresa, thank you very much. Talking about looking nice. Didn't Melania look like she was ready to hit the slopes? I mean, she looked like she was ready to go skiing. But, she's a fashionista for sure. Barry, it was 12. I will take 50. We are at 8. Good boy, Barry. Such a stunning blue topaz shirt. Thank you. You guys are liking the button-down collared look, I say. All right, you're taking notice, but the wife's been telling me all along. She's like, don't do like some of these other guys do. Put on some button-down shirts. Look a little bit more professional. I'm like, okay, if you want me to. Yeah, Melania looked gorgeous, yeah. Does that say negative 15? Was negative 15 here this morning. Gonna get to a high of 34 this afternoon. All right, then I'll shut up about it being 50. You guys are crazy. The Biden administration didn't care, too busy giving our money to illegals. Yeah, have to agree. I'm interested, and if we're still on at that point when Trump, he left at, I guess, 9:15-ish, with Air Force One. Shouldn't take him too long to get to North Carolina, maybe an hour and a half. So by 10:30, 11 o'clock, he'll be on the ground. So for my 3:30 show, I'll have all the clips and whatever he's done up in North Carolina by then. So come on back for the 3:30 show, and we'll have all the information as to what happened in North Carolina. I wouldn't doubt it if he's going to announce some additional aid coming in there, telling him. I don't think he's been there yet. This is going to be the first. No, he did. He went up there with, let me take that back. During the campaign, he went up there and he met with Franklin Graham in a couple of the areas. And he saw already but he didn't have the ability to do anything. All he could say is, I think he gave like $25 million bucks of his own money. And he helped push Samaritan's Purse, which God sent these people there, and you guys also helped push Samaritan's Purse, but the government, as a government official, he hasn't visited. So as a government official, and now with what he can do, I expect there to be a lot of aid heading towards North Carolina. So I'm interested to see who shows up as well. It sounds like Robin's, what's that? 14 degrees in Kentucky. Barry, what's it say? Was reading, no one is saying Nora O'Donnell got fired. She's out, but they're not saying because she got fired. Take it this way. I'm pretty sure you don't just quit a $15 million a year job just because you're tired of making $15 million a year. You need to start digging into everything that's happening with the media and watch how the new FCC chairman is said he's going after them. And she was a fervent anti-Trump person, completely anti-Trump. Ashley said that Monica is logging in now. South Carolina is still hurting too. Yeah, parts of Tennessee, up sure. Get that. Trump will help them and the loonies will find something wrong with it. I'm sure. I am sure they will do that. Wow, 45 degrees in LA, so it's all over the place. The Dems are already talking about impeachment and making him resign by February. Good. Let them continue talking like that. They got nothing. They are completely done. They don't even have the power to impeach. They'd have to have half the Republicans go along with it. Yeah, same thing. Norah O'Donnell, I believe, got the Jim Acosta treatment herself. Jim Acosta, well, you don't have to quit. You can stay here, but you know what? We're going to put you on at midnight. And nobody's going to see you or hear from you ever again. So you don't have to leave, but you definitely got to get the hell out of here. Trump showed up in Palestine, but EV1 McDonald's, they're loving it. Really, really nice. There's no need to fear. Donald Trump is here. Patriots, nobody cares about those losers. Absolutely. Wow, 19 in Idaho. So Idaho is kind of cold in the winter. It's cold in Louisiana, but snow is almost melted. Went driving yesterday. I had an interesting picture. I should have downloaded it for you guys. There was a picture down here. I think it was up in the Panhandle area. We don't get any snow. And it was an alligator on snow. Think about that for a second. There was a picture of a giant alligator sitting in the snow. Man, that's crazy. Saw online that Norah O'Donnell took a different position at the network. Sure. That's pretty much the same as like what Acosta's going to do. You got a different position now. You're not a anchor at prime time. Actually, is she having a hard time? I don't see her in yet. I don't know why people are having a hard time logging in. Some people log in pretty easy. So Ashley, let me know if she's... Oh, there she is. There she is right there. Hello, I see you. Looking fabulous. Hold on, let me go ahead and bring you up here. 2 seconds. All right, everybody. This is Monica Paige. Monica, can you hear everybody?
Oh. Got it. Yep, I got you.
You can hear. Great. How are you doing this morning in that frigid Washington, D.C.?
It's actually, we're experiencing a heat wave here, Barry. It's 19 degrees, not 11. So we're doing okay.
Oh, so pretty soon you can take off the coat and just put on a sweater once it gets like 30 or 40.
Yeah, maybe not so heavy jacket. Yeah.
Before you get into like the stuff that you know, did have a couple questions. And one of the questions were... some of the questions, I saw the video that you posted on X, and you can always hear the reporters talk, but what was he saying to some of the people, his answers we couldn't hear. One of them was about Collins and Murkowski. What's he thinking about them?
It was really hard to hear. I mean, even when you're bombarded with not only the noise from Marine One, but you also have just the other reporters crowding you. So I almost fell over a couple times. You've got somebody in my ears shouting about March for Life. You got somebody else asking about FEMA as well. So you got a lot of people asking. It's hard to hear what the president says, but we do get a full transcript of what he does say. So we were able to hear a little bit about that. I don't exactly know if they released what he said about the senators, but I know that he was excited and enthusiastic about Pete Hegseth and his confirmation. I know that that's going to be very controversial. It already is proving to be, as we know right now. It's very close between getting him confirmed and maybe having a tie-breaking vote, which is what it could come down to at the end of it. There could be some Republicans that may go rogue and vote no, and we don't know that yet. So I know. So I wanted to ask, I know some of your viewers a lot of your viewers actually were sending me emails, DMs, and they were like, ask this, ask this. I was like, I love these amazing ideas. I went through every single question, and I know that I wanted to ask about the drone report. I wanted to ask about if he's going to East Palestine, Ohio, if that's something that's on his radar as well, aside from California, North Carolina. So, we'll see. I mean, if I don't get a question about this now, I mean, I'll look at something a little bit more timely down the road to ask. But definitely very exciting. This was his first trip of his presidency, of his second term. This is the first time that we actually got to hear from the president in person as reporters. So everyone was really excited. And it was very crowded.
And it'll keep being that way. So you mentioned the Hegseth confirmation. Is there any word on the street per se about John Fetterman crossing over and voting yes?
There could be. I mean, Fetterman's one of those that you nearly never know what he's going to say or what he's going to do. I think his mind can be changed, which is a positive thing. We know how he feels about Israel. We know how he feels about this ongoing war in the Middle East. So it could be a positive thing. He could come around. He could, I hope, influence maybe some others to cross the line as well. But anything goes. Really anything could happen, Barry. So this is definitely something that all eyes will be on for this week.
So
this weekend.
Hegseth may squeak by, but then next week you've got the bombastic bunch of interviews that are scheduled between Tulsi and Kash Patel and RFK Jr. Who knows how that's going to go? It's basically probably going to keep you very busy. But is anyone talking about the possibility of recess appointments?
Recess appointments, although rare, could happen, So this is something that I think the Trump administration will be looking at if they can get their selection, their nominees through. A recess appointment, I will have to reread and re-research what goes into that. But the process, I think, that could happen for Pete Hegseth. It's interesting. That could happen for Tulsi and Kash Patel, but I think RFK Jr. will pass through with flying colors. I think a lot of people are enthusiastic about him. Oh, yeah. I think Tulsi should be okay. I think Kash might face some difficulty, but I think the most difficult one to pass through is Pete Hegseth, just given the fact that a lot of people are going to try and use his past against him, as we've heard all these reports and have seen in the news. But when it comes to Tulsi, I think she'll be okay. RFK Jr., he walks that line that's right down the middle that I think gets those independents and those Democrats really excited about. But Kash Patel might be another one that could face some challenges as well. I can't think of somebody better than Kash Patel. Really.
Oh yeah, that'd be sweet. So I noticed right after the executive order signings yesterday, especially with the JFK, RFK, and MLK, a lot of Ks there. You posted the actual order. And so there were a lot of people saying it's going to be imminent release. You were the first one to come out and say, wait a second, pump the brakes here. There's a 45-day period where they're just going to come up with a plan to release it. How long is it going to take before this gets out? And are we going to see a bunch of redactions that aren't really going to tell us anything?
Well, I hope there aren't any redactions. I mean, President Trump has proven to be the most transparent president, even in the first 4 or 5 days of his second term. But when it comes to these reports, I think that there has to be a plan to maybe release things in phases. I think that's something that the team is looking at, while instead of just dumping a bunch of archives and documents out to the public immediately, I think it would happen in phases, especially given that some of the information is extremely sensitive. Of course, I think that this is going to be a very careful instance. I think that the administration needs to be very careful with the types of information that it wants to release and the timing that it does. I mean, 45 days, a lot can happen in 45 days in this administration. A lot has already happened in 72 hours. So it will be interesting. I believe that the JFK documents will be out within the first 15 days, and then the Senator Kennedy and Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., those documents will have to be released within the 45-day period. But just the sole fact that we're getting any sort of information about this is huge. And that makes me curious. Why haven't we seen these documents released in the previous administrations? You know what I mean? So the fact that President Trump wants to do that is quite incredible. And a lot of the people should be very thankful that they're getting this. And we're also getting 23 pro-life prisoners released as well.
Right. I think one of the reasons why we haven't seen it is because it will really really caused a lot of problem with what's been going on with the establishment in Washington. And I had wondered myself, I wonder, was the timing having anything to do with John Ratcliffe getting confirmed, and now he's going to be in there to have control of what gets out and how it gets out, and then couple that with a lot of the guys getting their security clearances taken away. So it seems like a path has been open to get this out. And, it's gone Republican presidents and Democrat presidents, but so the common denominator between those have to be the so-called deep state. And if that stuff starts getting exposed, you're going to be really busy.
Yeah, I mean, you make all these great points, Barry. And I think another important thing to note is that while Trump was signing this executive order, he said all will be revealed.
Yeah.
And that is all he said about it, which makes me excited. I mean, he wants to give the American public and these families too the closure that they need, the answers that they deserve after all these years.
And he said it with a sly grin. He goes, everything will be revealed. And I'm like, oh, man, get the man extra security right now because it's crazy. So tell me about today in terms of going to North Carolina and then heading to California. Is he going up there with a checkbook? And did you notice, obviously we saw Melania leave, but who else is going with him out there, and what's the plan?
Yeah, so President Trump heading to North Carolina first. That's his first stop. He will be meeting with the victims' families. He'll be touring the sites that were absolutely destroyed by the hurricane, and he will be meeting with officials down there as well. I think he's going to make a couple of remarks down there as well. I know that he'll have a bunch of cameras following him. His press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, is also with him, traveling with him as well. And of course, he's traveling with a bunch of his assistants too. But we can expect him. I really have a feeling that he's going to look into FEMA and look into how exactly this happened. Because when you remember some of the reports that came out that FEMA and some of these administrators were neglecting Trump supporters. And if, these residents in North Carolina had a Trump sign or they were registered Republicans, these administrations, these federal agencies would skip over these homes. They would skip over these people. There's something that needs to be investigated into that. So I think President Trump's going to look into that. I think he's going to make some remarks. And then shortly after his disaster tour and meeting with the families, he'll be going to California, Santa Monica to be exact. We know there's a whole other fire happening near Santa Clarita, which I hope everything's under control by this point. I haven't really paid much attention to it. But I know that President Trump will be meeting with I believe Gavin Newsom might be meeting him on the tarmac, which might be interesting given the fact that they've had quite that back and forth. So we'll see. We'll see. I think Trump will be meeting with local officials over there, seeing how he can help, how this could have been avoided overall, because of course we know under Gavin Newsom's leadership and Karen Bass's leadership, they were kind of asleep at the wheel. You live and you run California. You should know that these kinds of things happen. They are normal for this state. And the fact that everything went under the radar, nothing was replenished, no water, no resources, it's suspicious. And President Trump will be getting to the bottom of that as well. And then after his tour in California, he'll be going to Nevada. We're unclear about what the schedule will look like for him in Nevada, but he's going to land around 7 p.m. Local time. So we'll see. I think he wants to thank some of his supporters out there in Nevada. I know that was a state that, he really was looking to flip red. And many people on the ground there really worked hard to elect him. So I think he might be going over there. I think he has something going on soon with crypto too, as well, out in Nevada as well. So we're definitely going to be keeping an eye on that too. And he'll be coming back to the White House Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern time. So very busy weekend, very busy schedule.
I know that Mrs. Adelson, Sheldon Adelson's wife, is a big backer of his, so he's probably getting out there getting some money as well. Question. I live in South Florida. I live in a disaster-prone state. I guess that's what we can call it. You mentioned about Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom not being prepared. And the word has been bandied about. Sometimes you have to wonder, are they trial balloons people put out there? But is there going to be, if there's going to be, well, there will be support, is it going to be conditional? Do you think that's something people are talking about, that Gavin Newsom is going to have somebody overwatching the disbursement of funds?
Well, Gavin Newsom would have to have somebody watch over the funds, of course, but I really don't think that Gavin Newsom is one to be trusted with
No.
his own state. That guy is just, he's looking for money. He's looking for a power grab. He's looking at his own image. I don't think he truly cares about the people of California. And it shows by his actions. I mean, there were so many steps that he could have taken to protect the Californians out there. I mean, but what President Trump, I think, is looking to do is also provide transparency and also just kind of make everything a little bit more secure. Let's refund these firefighters. Let's refund our law enforcement, not defund it. Let's make sure that this money and these resources are in good hands. And I think there needs to be a complete overhaul. I mean, there would need to completely not only rebuild California, but rebuild these administrations that oversee, just the funds and the resources for these people. Because enough's enough. People are seeing, I don't mean to make it political, but I think that people are really seeing what they voted for. And, and that's the fact of it. I mean, unfortunately, that's the reality.
And one of the conflicts, which California, I don't know how many of the population, but in terms of leadership, is what he's done nationally federally to basically destroy and dismantle DEI. But the pulpit of DEI is where he's heading today, where everything that's happened has been exposed because these people didn't seem to have the competence level to get stuff done. You got to wonder, are they going to have to relax their DEI stuff in order to, I mean, that's why I think he's got to appoint a czar or some sort of overseer to make sure California does things the right way, or that's just going to happen again. I mean, these people have proven themselves to be incompetent, whether intentionally or otherwise. And I just think pouring, more money after bad would be stupid. So what's your take on that?
I mean, to your point about DEI, like we have seen just how truly unfortunate everything has become with these DEI practices. I mean, I think Gavin Newsom's going to push back on this anti-DEI initiative. Of course, we've seen, even here at the own White House, what happens when you elect DEI. I mean, we've had a press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre, that basically ran her entire position on being a Black lesbian. I mean, and I mean, that's the reality of it. I mean, you've seen her post. I am the first Black lesbian press secretary. Okay, but you didn't give us any answers during the entire press briefing. So you see what happens when you have DEI, and now we're having a more merit-based system. I mean, having people in these positions based on the fact that they are the right ones for the job doesn't matter your skin color, your gender, your sexuality, as long as you're the right one for the job. And I think local, especially in California, are going to push back on it. But of course, President Trump, I think he's going to crack the whip because enough's enough. This is what happens.
Any word yet on when Caroline Leavitt is going to hold the first press conference, or is she just letting him go?
Well, no word yet. I have a prediction that it will be on Tuesday, considering that Caroline is traveling with the president today, and they will be returning back to the White House Monday night. So I'm going to guess Tuesday, and if not Tuesday, then Wednesday, just because I just think there's so much that Trump is hitting the ground running on. So that's my prediction. Nothing set in stone just yet, but a lot of exciting things happening. I know Caroline is looking to make a very big announcement during her first briefing.
Yeah.
So
and you're going to be in there, right?
Oh, absolutely. If I don't have a seat, I will be standing either in the back or on the side. President Trump obviously knows who I am now because he came right up before departing on Marine One, which was such a surreal moment. I will say this was my first experience, my first encounter being that close to President Trump, being able to smile at him, nod at him, show him that I am a friendly face of the media. So it was a very cool moment, and we'll see. Stay tuned. There's so much more that he's looking to do.
Can't wait to hear it. So those of you who haven't, go ahead to Monica Paige. By the way, before I say that, what in the heck is going on with the imposters?
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you brought this up because I was going to say, please do not follow the imposters. Monica Paige TV1, Monica Paige _TV, Monica Paige C TV, Monica. I don't even know how this happened, but I think everyone wants a piece of the action with all your wonderful followers, following along into this new journey of mine at the Trump White House. I think these bots want a piece of the action, so we can't let them have that, Barry. We can't let that happen.
I saw
It's Monica Page TV. I'm verified. I'm the only one verified, so Just make sure.
All right, Monica, Paige TV. That's the real one. Go ahead and follow her for updates. Monica, thank you very much. Go get warm, have a cup of coffee or some hot chocolate. And I guess the rest of your day gets easy now because he's out of town. What's in closing here? What do you do now that he's gone?
Well, even when I'm not working, I'm still working. So even when I go home after a long day, I'm still checking the emails, checking social media, keeping all of my lovely followers up to date with what exactly the president is doing, whether that's his schedule, his phone calls, his meetings. There's a lot that he's doing. And, when I'm not working, I'm at least checking my emails and reporting on things, from the social media aspect. So, yep, that's what I'm up to now.
Other than today when he's traveling, have they called lids like Biden was calling lids?
Oh no, Biden was calling lids. Oh my God, we would have a lunch lid for an hour in the Biden house, White House. Sometimes, Barry, there was a lid called at 11 a.m. That was right before he dropped out of the race. They were calling lids at 11 a.m., 11:45, just as maybe I was getting out of bed, I was getting ready to go, lid called. Oh, I guess that's it. That's the end of the day. The work here is done. 3 hours of work, and that's it. But the lid was called 7:20 here, 6:50. We're having full days here at the White House. So everyone's back to work, how it should be.
Before you go, I just realized that I raised a term that some people may not know. Can you just, before you leave, what's a lid?
A lid is when there's nothing else we can expect coming out of the White House for the rest of the day. That means the photogs, the videographers, the reporters, we won't be expecting to see the president or hear from the president anytime after the lid is called. So if you call a lid at 11 a.m., that day is done. If you're calling a lid at 7, that's reasonable. But you're calling a lid at 11:45 in the morning, that's it.
Hey, he needed his nap. That's what it was. All right. Oops.
Ooh.
You got in early. All right. That's obviously Congressman Timmons' team getting ready to come in. Ashley, can you thank Monica for that, for coming on in? And Congressman Timmons, I guess their team is working on getting in now. They jumped in early, but that's what happens. Monica, you're back. Oh, okay. Hey, Monica.
Hey, did we lose you for a second?
No, what happened was I have another interview with Congressman Timmons coming up at 11, so they must have jumped in early.
Go get him. Yep, so, that's fine.
Thank you very, very much.
Thanks, Barry.
Right,
thanks so much. I'll talk to you later.
All right, everybody. So we've got Congressman Timmons coming up at 11. That was his team, obviously getting ready to jump in. While we're getting all this coordinated for the second interview, which you got to hear, if you haven't heard who Congressman Timmons is, actually, you know what? Let me cue up this video, which I have, and I want you to hear about Congressman Timmons.
He could be playing golf every day, hanging out in Mar-a-Lago, spending time with his family. And instead, he stood in the breach. He took the most insane weaponization of government. They raided his house. They charged him in multiple jurisdictions. I mean, I would say thank you. I would say thank you for standing in the breach. Thank you for not playing golf every day, not, enjoying the life that you've earned, and making this country have an opportunity to be passed to the next generation in a similar shape as this generation received it. Because without him, I don't think that we would have this opportunity.
Buckle up, because we're going to get to the bottom of what the nonsense select committee for January 6th. There's a reason that everybody on that committee was pardoned. It's because they were not telling the truth. They were lying to the American people. Look, we all know that what happened on January 6th 4 years ago was bad. It was awful. A number of people assaulted law enforcement. That's unacceptable. But the narrative that the Democrats have had for the last 4 years is not true. It's false. They embellish, they lie, and we're going to show them exactly what happened. We're going to get to the bottom of it, and we're going to find out why President Biden pardoned all of the members of the January 6th committee. And guess what? Because they're pardoned, they don't have an excuse not to come in and testify before us. So we're going to get to the bottom of this, particularly the members that are no longer in office. Expect a subpoena soon.
So that's Congressman Timmons. We're waiting for his team to log in. They were coming in, as you saw, while Monica was still on, but obviously they had to bounce back out so that she could get cleared and he could come in here. While we're waiting, we've got some news that has popped up about, SV just sent it to me, about Putin and the war. Breaking, Putin claims the Ukrainian war could have been avoided if Trump had won the 2020 election and says he is, quote, ready to discuss the war. Breaking news from the Daily Mail, Putin says Ukrainian crisis, notice he called it a crisis, didn't call it a war, could have been avoided if Trump had not been deprived of the election win. Obviously the media is going to go nuts when they see that. If he had not been deprived of the election win, and said he is ready to discuss the war with the president. Yeah, I guess you have to just keep pinching yourself and realizing that today is day 4. Day 4, he is almost ready to discuss things. Zelensky says he wants to talk about it. So when he gets back from Nevada, California, and North Carolina, it seems as though he's going to be ready to discuss, sometime next week, maybe, who knows, maybe after the confirmations, then he'll bring in, Zelensky and Putin. Who knows where they'll hold this meeting? They may hold it here. He may say, come here. Maybe it'll go overseas. But in any event, Trump is now working and has the ability to talk to Vladimir, and they're going to try and work this out. Let me take a few of your comments here. I love winning. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. My bad. I slacked here. I should have realized that is indeed something that is winning.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
Yes, indeed, we are going to keep winning and winning more. I'm going to show you a little bit about Congressman Timmons. Oh, I just did. Just showed you that video. Somebody says, more winning. It's time for more winning. Wow, Barry, great guests, great reports, and info from you. You'll be moving up on a list. Watch out, Pangina. Wow, the note went out, boycott MAGA shops in North Carolina. Yeah, good luck with that. And when I say good luck with that, let me discuss that for a second. My wife, she likes to go, I guess once a week or so, she goes what's called thrifting. She'll go out and go thrifting at a store, and we live in Boca, and so down here in Boca, you will see people who live in these $20 million, $25 million houses, and they decide one day, hey, we're just going to renovate, get rid of all this stuff, and they donate it to a hospice or something. And she walked in yesterday, and she's like, I found the most amazing vase. I guess it's a vase. It's like a 6-foot vase. I want to get that. They took it out this guy's penthouse, and because he just told him to come get it. He was tired of looking at it. But the story is, she had on this hat. She had this hat on when she went thrifting yesterday. And she went there, and she went to a grocery store. And as she was, walking around with the hat, people were giving her nods and smiling at her. And Boca, if you don't know, has a lot of New Yorkers. A lot of New Yorkers here. So it's a purplish, tintly blue type area where in certain pockets you'd feel uncomfortable wearing these things. But nonetheless, she decided, let's go, let's put it out there, let's wear the hat. And she was surprised how many people are now smiling, giving her, thumbs up and different things like that. The vibe has decidedly changed. And the more this guy does with each passing day, the vibe will continue to change. So put on your sweatshirts, your hoodies, your hats, not t-shirts right now, a little bit cold, but they can't, at this point, the tent is going to continue to grow. Speaking of tent growing, I want to ask you guys a question. Ashley had a question. She has a possible guest. And I didn't want to do this. Actually, I wanted to do this guest, but she's like, you better ask and make sure people are okay. So I'm going to ask you a question. I want your honest answer, and based upon your answers, Ashley may approach this person to come on the show. And I hate that I even have to ask this, because as we see this tent grow, there are going to be people under the auspices of this tent that you may not be used to. People who you may think live a different kind of life that you're not comfortable with, but they're still MAGA. So are people getting to the point, hopefully in this audience, where MAGA is welcome no matter who you are? I would really love to know that we are at a point where if someone is a serious, bona fide Trump supporter, that it doesn't matter what their lifestyle is. They might be a biker. They might be a rapper. They might be gay. But if they're MAGA, are you okay with it? Because Ashley may want to bring, or we'd like to bring, but we don't want to have an issue with it. And I'm not saying that you guys dictate the programming, but I want people to be comfortable. How would you guys feel if we brought Scott Presler on for an interview? Those of you who don't know Scott Presler, he has done a incredible job promoting Donald Trump and promoting MAGA and helping turn the voter rolls in cities and counties across the country. I believe that he is exemplary of the MAGA movement. I believe that Scott Presler can show many of us how to help at a local, micro level. If he can do it on a big level in Pennsylvania and some of these states, he can probably tell us what we need to do on a local level to turn things over, all the way down to your school board. And so I'd love to be able to talk to Scott Presler, but I don't want to see the crazy comments. And I don't want him to see crazy comments. So, while we're waiting for Congressman Timmons, you guys let me know what you think about Scott Presler. I love it. Yes, Scott is great. Yes, double yes. Thumbs up, double thumbs up. I like Scott. Yes, bring him on if you can. Bring him on. He's an awesome guy. All right, Ashley. Now you know. We don't have to go. Bring all MAGA. I don't care about Scott's lifestyle. There we go. That's what I want to hear. Beam me up, Scotty. Ashley, if you can get a hold of him, do it. Let's do it. Let's make this tent really, really big. So, it was kind of weird. I'm like, don't want people to, I don't want any guest to feel uncomfortable here. That's the thing with me. We're inviting people into this community, and we're asking them, tell us about your life and what you want to do. And as you have seen, the people who come here like it, and they come back. And, with Tim Burchett and Nancy Mace, and then hopefully Congressman Timmons can get logged on in here. Ashley, are they okay? Let me know, because I saw them pop in, but now I don't see them. But yeah, in order for us, I'm actually building a bigger tent here. And that bigger tent is bring more people on that you guys may want to hear from, and we'll keep talking to them as well. Platinum Brunette says Scott's a boss. That's a good point. If you don't like Scott, I question your MAGA status. Good point. Absolutely. Also, Rick Grinnell would be another great guest. Rick Grinnell, didn't even think about that. Absolutely. Jesus has open arms, gives you the choice to make. Yes. Everyone is welcome under MAGA. The tent is gigantic. All right, we got Congressman Timmons in here. Let me just make sure everything is okay. And we got volume. Congressman, can you hear me?
I can, yes, sir. Good morning. Great to be with you.
Good morning, sir. Let me just move that comment off the screen so we can talk. I was like, I didn't know if you were having a problem getting in, but thank you very much for coming in today. This is your first time. You're from South Carolina, correct? What district? What do you do up in South Carolina?
Greenville and Spartanburg, SCO4. Yes, sir.
All right. So I played a video earlier while you were off. Maybe I should play it again. But the video was, and everybody saw it, it was very compelling. it was about you saying right in the camera that the people from the January 6th committee, the ones who all got pardons, should basically lawyer up and get ready for a subpoena. Is that coming?
They don't need to lawyer up. They cannot be charged with crimes, but that doesn't mean that they can avoid the truth. So while they're not going to jail for what they did, they are going to be publicly shamed, and we're going to get to the bottom of it. The American people are going to know exactly what happened, exactly what they did, exactly what laws they broke. That is important to make sure this never happens again. The accountability, holding them accountable is not as important as it is to make sure that the American people understand the truth and that it never happens again.
Mm-hmm. Now, you were a former prosecutor, as I looked up on your Wikipedia. Is there a small window that they might be afraid of? And that small window is the pardon covers what they've done prior to that date. If they come in and perjure themselves, and you guys can prove that they perjure themselves, isn't that, chargeable? Can't you do something about that?
I do not think that they would be dumb enough to come in and lie to Congress, because yes, we could, and the Department of Justice would prosecute. But the bigger issue is state crimes. So federal crimes have been pardoned, but state crimes are still up for grabs. So, I mean, we're going to see what happens, but I think that the truth is going to come out. I think that we're going to get to the bottom of this, and I'm all about moving on. The American people need to know the truth, but they care more about interest rates going down. They care more about securing the southern border so we don't have hundreds of thousands of Americans dying from fentanyl overdoses and being raped and murdered by illegal aliens. We need to stop the wars abroad. We need to unleash American energy. All of these things is what President Trump told the American people he will do, and he is doing, and we need to help in that endeavor. We also need to make sure that the sins of the January 6th committee never happen again.
Yeah, agreed. Now, I saw something you posted on Twitter, and it was in regards to, I have to be very careful here on YouTube, because even though Trump has won and said, he wants to do away with censorship, they don't like me talking about certain issues. And one of those issues is abortion. And a bill came up yesterday, and it said that you guys just voted on whether a living, breathing baby who survives it is entitled to basic medical care, and 204 Democrats voted against it. That seems almost demonic to me. Did they give you any rationalization as to why they possibly would vote against that?
The Democrats would tell you that it never happens. But this is the thing. With Roe v. Wade being overturned, as it should have been, states now get to decide what laws control reproductive rights. And in South Carolina, we have a 6-week abortion ban. And if you are the victim of rape or incest, it goes up to 12. And then you have the life of the mother is controlling. Now, in New York, they have no such law. You can have an abortion up to and in certain circumstances after birth in New York. So that's why we are voting on legislation like the Born Alive Protection Act, because in New York City, they can, and I guarantee you it will happen, have an abortion where the child is over 20, 22 weeks, where the child could go to the NICU and survive, but instead they will continue on and murder that born child. So that's why we vote on bills like we did yesterday. We had one Democrat join us. The rest are going to say it's not necessary, but that's just not true, because the law of the land in New York and California permits it. That's why we need to pass legislation to protect born alive children from what is essentially murder. They'll call it abortion. They'll call it women's reproductive rights, but it is just murder. A baby that is older than 20, 22 weeks, that is born during the process of having an abortion, you're murdering that child. That's why we voted on the bill yesterday, to protect children born alive. And I'm hopeful that we can get enough Democrats in the Senate to come along and we can protect life.
I mean, there are a number of redundant laws on the books. It wouldn't have hurt them, even from an optical standpoint, to say, yeah, we vote for this. But for 204 of them to basically stand up and say, no, we don't support that. And everybody, you can see the vote right there. 216 Republicans vote yay, 1 Democrat, and 204 Democrats voted against it. To me, there's no excuse for that.
Well, Barry, the president is going to sign his first bill into law, the Lake and Riley Act, and we had 50 plus Democrats in the House, and we had dozens of senators vote for it. So, not only is the president saving our country through executive orders in the first few days in office, but the first bill he's going to sign into law united Congress.
Yes.
Congress was united, overwhelmingly bipartisan, and he's going to sign his first bill into law that has dozens and dozens of Democrats supporting it. So, look, it's a new day in America. It is the golden age, and I'm just excited to be a part of it and help President Trump save this country for at least another generation.
For those who are watching who are not really familiar with the Lake and Riley Act, could you explain a little bit about what it entails?
It basically increases penalties for criminal illegal aliens that rape and murder American citizens. And this shouldn't be controversial. Obviously, it wasn't controversial because the Democrats joined with us. But at the end of the day, we have to have the rule of law. This is the thing that people don't understand. There's two principles of justice when you go to law school. There's retribution, meaning you're getting vengeance through legal recourse. And this is the most important one in my view, deterrence. If you don't enforce the rule of law, if you don't create penalties for people that break the law, then other people will break the law. Weird. So, creating deterrence is a critical component of the criminal justice system, and we are reinforcing that there is deterrence. I saw a great stat. It's the first time in years that no one has been shot in New York City in the last 5 days.
Yeah.
No one has been shot in New York City in the last 5 days.
Right.
And that's the first time in, years and years and years. But this
30,
is a new
30
day.
years. 30.
New day. It's a new day for our country. If you commit a crime, you're going to jail. If you kill somebody, you're going to prison for a very long time. And if you enter this country illegally and bring guns and drugs, you're going to be deported, and you might spend some time in prison first.
Yeah. So you mentioned controversy, and you had posted this on Twitter. It says, we must end the government policy of trying to socially engineer race and gender into every aspect of public and private life. As the president said, we will forge a society that is colorblind and merit-based. How much pushback and how have people completely freaked out in Washington based on the fact that, number one, the DEI thing has basically been killed, and number two, are you guys going to be able to do anything about some of these agencies having rogue employees who are trying to obfuscate what the executive order said by having somebody who was yesterday a diversity officer and today being a director of education or something? I've noticed that now people are catching these people going in and changing the names and job descriptions, and I don't know who they answer to, but how are you guys going to stop that?
That's the beautiful thing about the internet. It's archived. So, you can change your title all you want, but you're going to be getting a new job. Get your resume ready. But, the best part is not only is President Trump ending DEI in the military and in the federal government, the big corporations are going along with it. The banks, the large businesses that the Biden administration shoved it down their throat, they're all ending it. Facebook, oh my gosh, Facebook is ending it. So, look, the American dream is open to everyone, no matter your skin color, your gender, your religion, but we're not going to force diversity in areas where we're ignoring merit. The reason that we are the best country in the world, the best place to start to build a business, to raise a family, is because the American dream gives you the opportunity to succeed. It does not mandate your success. Everyone has the same opportunity. You do not get the same outcome. You got to work hard, and you got to do your best. And We give you the opportunities to succeed. We do not guarantee it.
At one point, I forget which one of the crazy ones saying that term, work hard, is racist. I mean, to me, that was insane. My wife is from Murrells Inlet, small town up in your area. I love it, by the way. The seafood is some of the best in the world. And we used to enjoy going to Myrtle Beach until it began turning into Murder Beach. And it just be, my first date with my wife is we went to the library in Myrtle Beach 30-something years ago. And when we went back to visit, somebody said, don't go there, don't want to go in that part of town. And I think that the whole DEI and what Biden and Kamala did, it didn't foster improvement of the black community or the marginalized communities, as they like to say. It made it worse because people started looking the other way and just, it's crazy, absolutely crazy. So I am so happy that you guys have worked together to end this nonsense in terms of what I'm thinking. So here's something that's really...
You're a real Romeo, first date library. If anybody's watching this, I wouldn't recommend your first date at the library. It is abnormal for this to be successful. So congratulations. You are definitely special.
I'll have to tell you, I didn't know anything about it. I was working in a nightclub, and somebody said, hey, why don't you take her to the library? One of my friends basically sandbagged me, and I walked in, I opened the menu, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be working for 2 weeks.
Oh, I haven't been to it's a restaurant. I've never been to that restaurant.
Oh yeah, it used to be a very, very, very fine dining restaurant right in downtown Myrtle Beach, and the menu was
I thought you took your wife to the actual library. I'm sorry.
No, I'm not that good. So, speaking of money, it seems as though you're going to be a part of Doge. So tell me what's two questions with this. What's going on with Vivek? Is he leaving Doge because everyone's asking? Is he leaving Doge because he's going to be he's going to run for governor, or has there been some issue with him, being a part of Doge? And then, secondly, tell me what you're going to do about it.
Well, first, Doge has really multiple lines of effort. Obviously, Elon Musk is leading the one within the administration, and there's many Doge teams in every federal agency, and they're working on a report that is going to be released on the country's 250th anniversary next July. Mm-hmm. So that is the executive line of action. Then we have the Doge Caucus, which there's dozens of members in. It's bipartisan, and that is basically a whole of Congress effort to try to find these cost savings. And then last but certainly not least is the Doge Subcommittee on the Oversight Committee. And we've got 8 members, and we're going to be holding hearings. We're going to be doing rolling recommendations. And I tell you, there's not a lot of tasks that are as daunting as finding $1 or $2 trillion in savings in government. But, waste, fraud, abuse, and just reckless spending, we're going to have to get to work. The future of our country depends on it. We have $36 trillion in debt. We're running a $2 trillion deficit. We've got to succeed. We cannot fail. And I couldn't be more excited to work with the chairwoman, Margie Taylor Greene, and we're going to get this done. We're going to get it done.
So are you guys going to basically have carve-outs, like the subcommittee is going to handle this part of trying to find savings? And does each subcommittee that you mentioned, are they going to have different aspects of the government that they're going to dig into and try to find where the money can be saved?
Again, it's just such an enormous task. We're still really creating the plan. I do think we're going to have our first hearing on healthcare. There's just a lot of opportunities. We're going to talk about the military. We're going to talk about education. The Department of Education is my favorite because they have an $80 billion budget, and they cause more problems with the money they give state and local governments than they create solutions, because all that money comes with so many strings. So one of the big areas for opportunity is regulation and compliance. And if we can really just streamline the regulations and reduce compliance costs, that's a huge cost savings, because we want teachers to teach kids. We don't want to make them spend all their time checking boxes.
Right.
And, there is a role for the federal government to play. A large portion of their budget goes to giving children free and reduced lunch because they are unable to pay for it. And the federal government should do that, but they shouldn't use that money to then require teachers to check all these boxes and spend all their time filling out forms. That's just not how it's supposed to work. So that's just one small example. I could go on and on and on, but getting the federal government out of the way, getting us back to our core function. And again, the federalist system was designed so the federal government only does what the states can't do alone. Mm-hmm. And we have gone so far beyond that. So we got to get back to our core government function, and the DOGE subcommittee and Elon's DOGE is going to be a huge part of that.
So what happens with Trump's initiative to basically do away with the Department of Education and push it back to the state? Obviously, they're not going to get that same budgetary accommodation. So how would that work in terms of the Department of Education on a federal level going away, but still making sure that school systems around the country are funded?
So you again, a huge portion of their budget is used to give children that need assistance free and reduced lunch. So you would block grant that back to the states with a formula based off of census data, and then I think you could move it under Health and Human Services, because again, feeding children that need assistance is health. So I think if we move the core function under Health and Human Services, that would be an option. But again, the bureaucracy and the mandates and the strings to all of these funds have to go away. We got to drive dollars and decisions as close to children as possible. And nobody in Washington, D.C. has any idea what's best for a student in Greenville, South Carolina. I can promise you that.
Right. So you're ex-military. I was looking at you were a JAG officer?
I'm actually one of 4 members of Congress that still serves in the military.
Oh, wow.
I'm
okay.
actually a captain in the South Carolina Air National Guard. I'm the Area Defense Counsel. So when airmen are accused of doing something or have made a mistake, they rely on me to give them advice and guidance through the disciplinary process.
So I know you're on the House side, but I'm sure you see and hear a lot of stuff in terms of what's going on in the Senate. With Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski saying they don't want to vote for Pete Hegseth, we just had Monica Paige on, who's a reporter, but you're actually in Congress. Is Pete Hegseth going to get confirmed?
He will be confirmed, and it's ridiculous. I mean, we saw what they did with Kavanaugh.
Yeah.
It's just anonymous allegations and ridiculous liberal talking points.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, the guy has 2 Ivy League degrees. He's deployed multiple times. He has served his country in combat. I don't understand what more you want. So he's going to get confirmed. It's sad that Collins and Murkowski have decided that they can't support him. And this is the thing. Murkowski's talking about the role of women in the military. I don't care what gender, race, religion somebody next to me is. If we're at war, I want them to be able to perform to make sure that if I get hurt, that they're able to help save my life and fight and win the war. The fact that we have disparate standards for genders, for physical fitness, is ridiculous. You can't have a merit-based system. I mean, look, there are women that are in better shape than a lot of men. They can do more pull-ups, they can do more push-ups, they can run faster. Put them on the front line if they want to go fight. They can do special forces all day long. But to say that they don't have to meet the same standard as their male counterpart, who then they're going to deploy with, and it's going to be a massive problem. I mean, again, there are biological differences between men and women. To say that there are not is just insanity. Common sense is coming back to the United States of America.
Thank God.
If there's a woman that is fit to serve and can meet the same standards, go forth. Great.
Yeah.
But we're not going to create disparate standards. We're not going to reduce the standards to allow women to serve in combat roles. We're just not going to do it. It does not meet the purpose of the military. Their purpose is to be the most lethal fighting force in the world and to fight and win wars. That's what we're going to focus on going forward, and that's what Pete Hegseth is going to be all about. Couldn't be more excited.
It's funny. Every time he said, we want to make a lethal fighting force, you can almost see Democrats cringe. They don't even like to acknowledge the fact that that's what we're here for. We're here to do stuff to bad guys and to make sure they don't come any further. So it's absolutely insane. I'm glad I'm hearing more and more that Pete Hegseth is going to get confirmed. In fact, I believe that vote is at 9 o'clock tonight, unless they decide to move it earlier. Is that correct? Isn't there some parliamentary procedure that could make it go earlier?
If the Democrats want to go home this weekend, they're going to have to cry uncle. And if they don't want to, Leader Thune is really pounding the pavement. He is wonderful, and he told them, he said, listen, if y'all want to let this take the easy way out, we can go home. If not, cancel your weekend travel plans because we're going to be voting all weekend.
I love it. You do the easy way or the hard way. Either way, we're going to get it done. One of your compatriots there in South Carolina, I interviewed Nancy Mace a couple of weeks ago, and yesterday I think she put out she may be running for governor in South Carolina. I don't know who the current is. McMaster still the governor right now? Is he term limited, or is she?
He's term limited. He's finishing. He will finish 10 years as governor because he was the lieutenant governor when Nikki Haley became UN ambassador, and so he's then been reelected twice. So yeah, it is an open seat. There's a large field. I hear that the attorney general is likely to run. The lieutenant governor is likely to run. Ralph Norman, Nancy Mace are all. I am not running for governor. Hey, look at that.
That was the next question. I was teeing that up. Like, what about you? Because I know you've got a lot of familiar history in South Carolina. You've got family there, and so I was like, that was where I was going. Are you throwing your hat in the ring?
No, sir. You heard it here.
Okay. Well, Congressman Timmons, thank you. My dog is acting up. Thank you very much for your time. I'd like to have you back. What's next? What's the next big bill in Congress you guys are going to be taking up?
Well, we're going to have the one big, beautiful bill, the reconciliation bill. But there'll probably be a number of things before then. But, we're going to be spending a lot of time on the reconciliation package because that's going to be where we do not need any Democrats to help us really change this country. So we got a lot of work to do because some of these people, you wouldn't believe it. So the state, you're going to be hearing a lot about SALT, state and local tax deductions. And, fairly well-off people. We're talking, making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in South Carolina. They don't have state and local taxes beyond $10,000. You got to be wealthy in South Carolina. But in New York and California, they're paying tens of thousands of dollars in state and local property taxes. So when under the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act in 2017, they created the $10,000 cap. That was a huge pay for. And so now we've got 5 or 6 members that are very passionate about it. You wouldn't believe this. Some of them are proposing that we increase the $10,000 cap to $100,000 per individual and $200,000 per couple. Let me tell you what, we ain't doing that. Because if you've got $100,000 or $200,000 in property taxes, your problems are not real. And, the American people do not care about that. And this Congress should not waste their time for your concerns.
Right, exactly.
Now, if they want to increase it to 15, 20,000, 25 or 30, and then over the next few years, pare it down to allow states to restructure their tax codes to where they're not taking federal tax dollars. That's something we can talk about. But this $100,000, $200,000 increase, insanity, never happened. I can't even believe that it's been proposed.
I have one more question for you, and I'll let you go. Down here, I'm in Florida with Ron DeSantis. Well, my dog sounds like he's eating an alligator. We don't have a state income tax. Everything down here is based upon a consumption tax, a sales tax. I think it's 6 or 7%. Don't even pay attention because it doesn't bother me. Is there an appetite in Washington with what Trump's been saying and what Howard Lutnick has been saying in terms of increasing tariffs? Is there an appetite to actually do away with income taxes on a federal basis? And what would that take to even do?
So we need to maintain the necessary revenues. If you look at historical revenues, we are actually taking more. Our federal tax revenue has been the highest it's ever been the last 4 years each year. So restructuring that to where we're going away from federal income tax is a conversation, but we got to be careful. I mean, South Carolina still has an income tax. I have been pushing them to transition away from that and go towards the sales tax. I think it's so much better because if you go to a sales tax, you can then have a larger sales tax on luxury items,
right,
and you can have no sales tax on bread and milk and eggs, and
right,
you can tax liquor and cigarettes more, and you can tax necessities less. So I mean, there's a lot of social engineering you can do, and you can make it a relatively progressive tax code. I don't think anybody would argue that a person buying a Ferrari should pay a much higher sales tax than somebody's buying a gallon of milk.
Right, exactly.
So these are very logical conversations that we need to have, and I think a use tax makes a lot more sense. It's just really hard to get right on state levels, and it's even harder to get right on the federal level. I actually think that technology has a really big opportunity to play here, because you could structure the sales tax where it actually changes over time based off of revenue needs, to where you're trying to maintain, there'll be a surplus at the end of the year under our current tax code, and then everybody's like, well, how are we going to spend it? I'm like, no, that's not how that works. You don't just have a Christmas present at the end of the year because you took in too much tax relative to what you spent. That's not how this works. But inevitably, in every case, that's what happens. So we got to be careful, but I think there's an opportunity with new technology and with the new administration to really take a look at this, and I'm just excited to be a part of the conversation.
Well, thank you for taking your time. I know it's Friday. Are you heading home? You heading down to Columbia, or are you going to stay in Washington?
I'll be going home for 24 hours to then go down. The president is having dinner with us at Trump Doral on Monday, so I'll be swinging through South Carolina briefly to then go down. And I'm going to look forward to dinner with the president with the Republican conference.
That's right here in my backyard, Doral. Have you ever been there?
I have. The Blue Monster is one of my favorite golf courses. I'm actually playing on Monday.
Hopefully the weather will clear up. I mean, not the kind of weather you guys have up there. I mean, it was 50 degrees today, but it's supposed to be like 70, 75 this weekend. So I hope you guys have a great time. Congressman Timmons, thank you for taking the time out of a obviously busy schedule to spend some time talking to me. Thank you very much. All right.
Thanks for having me on. Great to be with you.
All right. Bye-bye. All right, everybody. That was Congressman William Timmons from South Carolina. Thank him for taking the time out. We'll be right back. As you know, President Trump has assembled the Avengers to make America great again. And of course, we're all excited and ready to see them get to work. But with everything we're seeing right now, don't take your eye off the ball. Things could get much worse before they get better. With the possibility of World War III still looming, and with the Democrats doing everything they can to impede Trump, you still need to keep your guard up and your money protected. Oh, and our national debt is still massively increasing. Don't get me wrong, I have high hopes for Trump's America, but I also have a family to look out for. You see, Trump and the Avengers have quite the uphill battle ahead. That's why I'm making sure I'm protected, and I'm recommending that you do the same. One way to be protected is by diversifying your portfolio. That's why on this channel I've been happy to partner with Lear Capital. As you know, I've been involved in real estate for quite some time. And although I dabbled in gold and silver, Kevin and his staff at Lear have helped to educate me even further, especially in regards to silver. Give Lear a call today and they'll show you how easy it is to move some of your savings or your retirement account into gold and silver. Gold and silver have been proven to hold value and protect wealth for the long term. Call Lear today at 800-601-5430 or go to learberry.com to get your free gold and silver wealth protection guides. There's no obligation, just free information. Many of you have seen my interviews with Lear founder Kevin Demerit, And I can tell you this company is solid and likes to educate their customers. Just so you know, Lear has over 27 years of experience, thousands of 5-star reviews, and over $3 billion in trusted transactions, and is the only company with a 24-hour risk-free purchase. You don't pay unless you're 100% satisfied. So call 800-601-5430 or go to learberry.com. And when you call, don't forget to ask how you can get up to $15,000 in bonus gold or silver with a qualifying purchase. So if you'd like to take advantage of this opportunity, please call my friends at Lear Capital at 800-601-5430 and tell them Barry sent you. All right, so I understand that Trump just landed in North Carolina and gave a impromptu little press conference. I'm going to see if I can pull that up, and if not, I'll basically cover it at the 3:30 show so we can go over it. But I will be doing a 3:30 deep dive into everything that's going on. Real quick here, let me tell you about Mike Huckabee's Kids Guide. President Trump said he wants to teach our kids to love our country. Sorry about that. What happened here? And now that it's finally time for his inauguration, it's the perfect time to teach kids everything they need to know about their new president and his mission to make America great again. That's why Mike Huckabee's team put together the Kids Guide to President Trump, and to celebrate President Trump's return to the White House, they're giving it away for free. This book is great because it features fun illustrations and content teaching kids all about President Trump, his accomplishments, and his goals for his second term. Mike Huckabee wants to send your family this free guide so you can teach your kids the truth about President Trump. And when you order, you'll receive a free commemorative President Trump pin. But you must hurry because supplies are limited. Claim your free Kids Guide to President Trump for your kids right now. See offer details and order your free guide at kidstrumpguide.com. kidstrumpguide.com, or you can just hit the QR code right here and it'll take you to the website kidstrumpguide.com. All right, so let's talk about SV is right now trying to pull up a link to see if I can show this to you. And this would be Trump just landing in North Carolina. Hold on, let me pull this up. Yep, I can pull this. He's got about a 2-minute video here, so we're gonna download this real quick, and we're gonna put this up on the screen so you guys can hear this. And I haven't seen it, so well, I'm pretty sure that Trump's not going to be swearing on this. So let's go ahead and download this. 1 second. All right, hold on. I got it. Thank you, SB, for this. I'm pulling it in here. 1 second. Talk amongst yourselves. All right, here we go. And we're ready. We got it ready to play right now. Where is it? Okay. We got it. Yep, we got it. All right, let's go ahead and listen.
Direct. In other words, the aid will go through us. So rather than going through FEMA, it will go through us. And I think maybe this is a good place to start. Because, and in all fairness to the governor, and in all fairness to everybody else, FEMA was not on the ball. And we're going to turn it all around. Yes.
A lot of Americans think that this is symbolic of what your campaign was all about. America first, putting your priorities to Americans, even going to California where their policies might have been one of the biggest reasons why they've had these problems. But you're putting the American people first. Your thoughts on that?
We are. Thank you. I like that question. Boy, I want more questions like that. That's even a statement. Thank you very much. He's a good man, that guy. And he's also a very professional reporter, I have to say. Thank you very much. Yeah, we're putting America first. We're putting, in this case, North Carolina and California. We're going to do a good job in California. That is a disaster like, I don't know if we've ever seen anything like it, frankly. They say the biggest in the history of California. I think, has anything bigger than that happened in the whole country ever? It looks like, I don't want to say what it looks like, but you know what I'm going to say. It looks like something hit it. And we won't talk about what hit it, but it is a bad, bad situation. And I guess I'm going to meet with some government officials. But, I mean, much more importantly, and in California, just to revert to it for a second, millions of gallons of water are waiting to be poured down through already the half pipes that are already built. I mean, they've been up for 40 years. And about 20 years ago, they turned off the water. And it's the water that comes from the Pacific Northwest. Some of it comes out of Canada, and it flows there, and it probably has flowed there for 1 million years. And they turned it off, and they routed out to the Pacific. And in the meantime, you don't have water in the hydrants, you don't have water in the sprinkler systems. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. And everyone's trying to figure out why aren't they turning it back. They say it's the Delta smelt, it's a fish. But I find that hard to believe, but we'll figure it out. And without doing that, you're going to continue to have problems.
All right, so that's Trump just getting off of Air Force One in Asheville, North Carolina. I will cover that in depth at 3:30. So all the different videos and stuff, we'll be recording them and putting them together in a show. Excuse me. They know they're in trouble with Pete Hegseth. How do you know they're in trouble with Pete Hegseth? This just got posted. This piece of crap just got posted 10 seconds ago. Hegseth told Senator he paid $50,000 to a woman who accused him of a 2017 incident. I have to say those words. Hegseth told a senator. This just came out literally 11:35 a.m., 2 minutes ago, by WJT12 News. They got nothing. They're manufacturing stories, trying to cause problems for Pete Hegseth. And like William Timmons just said, and like Nancy Mace said, and like Monica said, he's going to get confirmed. This is nothing but character assassination, over and over and over. He was a bad boy. I understand that. He used to drink. He was in the military. All those things. None of which have to do with the guy he is today. William Timmons, storied past, been divorced. Who hasn't had problems in their life? It just goes, these people are just too much. Just too much. No, that wasn't live right then and there. He's gonna, but Ashley's asking me, was that live with Trump? No, I don't think he's live right now. Let me see if I can cut to a couple of other things to make sure that is indeed the case. Is he? Yes, he is live. Okay. Thank you, Ashley. Hold on. I see what I got to do here.
North Carolina Speaker Dustin Hall. Thank you, Dustin. Thanks, Dustin. Very good. House Majority Leader Brendan Jones. Brendan, thank you very much. We're making progress, Brendan. State Representatives Dudley Green, Carl Gillespie. Thank you very much, fellas. Good. Good. Thank you very much. State Senators Kevin Corbin, Warren Daniel. Thank you. Thank you very much, Kevin, Warren. And County Commissioner Jennifer Best. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you. So Hurricane Helene was one of the worst natural disasters in American history. It was far worse than it was even billed. I have never seen such water damage. It was largely water damage, wind damage, but water damage nobody's ever seen. I've been here, as you know, numerous times, but now I'm here in a position where we can do something, meaning I've been in office for 4 days, and I wanted to come sooner, but actually they had a little problem with getting logistically in here, but I would have been here even sooner.
104 North Carolinians have lost their lives. Is that now a fairly firm number, or are they still finding people? You know, what do you think? They're still finding people? Pretty much okay? A lot of people. 104 people lost their lives. 73,000 homes were severely damaged or destroyed. And I'll tell you, I've been to a lot of them, and this was like lots of hurricanes in one. I've never seen such damage done by water. And the water came, it was violent, and it left, and there was like nothing left. It's really pretty amazing. At one point, half of the emergency calls to FEMA went unanswered. That's real bad. FEMA was not doing their job. The city of Asheville went without running water for 2 months. A whistleblower testified that some FEMA employees refused to help people who displayed Trump signs on their property. I think that's true, isn't it? I read that. It's not nice. And the water came, it was violent, and it left, and there was like nothing left. Thank you very much. Michael, is that true? That's not good, huh? About the property owners you put a Trump sign on and they wouldn't help? FEMA. Earlier this year, FEMA kicked 2,000 North Carolinians out of their temporary housing into below freezing temperatures. What was that all about? You know about that? What happened? Tell me.
We had an incompetent.
But whoever those property people were, thank you very much. Michael, is that true? That's not good, huh? About the property owners you put a Trump sign on and they wouldn't help? FEMA. Earlier this year, FEMA kicked 2,000 North Carolinians out of their temporary housing into below freezing temperatures. What was that all about? You know about that? What happened? Tell me.
We had an incompetent administration under Biden, and we had a disaster, and then we call it the disaster after the disaster. That was the FEMA response.
You had nothing but disaster since then. It doesn't matter at this point. Biden did a bad job. Some residents still don't have hot water, drinking water, or anything else, and many of them don't have quarters. They don't have anything. They got a stipend for what they lost, and we're going to take care of it. This is totally unacceptable, and I'll be taking strong action to get North Carolina the support that you need to quickly recover and rebuild. We're working on it very hard, and I think if Michael Whatley does half as good a job for North Carolina as he did for my campaign, we'll be very happy. Him and Laura were a very powerful team. So you think you can handle it, Michael? I don't know. I'm not sure, Michael. I think this is maybe in many ways easier, okay? Maybe easier. But you're going to lead the team. Do you want to say who the congressmen are that you want to appoint? Do you want to introduce them?
We have Virginia Fox, Chuck Edwards, and Tim Moore, whose districts encompass here.
And they are the districts that were most severely impacted, right? You were affected then, Virginia?
Yes, lost my own driveway.
Really? No. I'll also be signing an executive order to begin the process of fundamentally reforming and overhauling FEMA, or maybe getting rid of FEMA. I think, frankly, FEMA is not good. I think when you have a problem like this, I think you want to go and, whether it's a Democrat or Republican governor, you want to use your state to fix it and not waste time calling FEMA, and then FEMA gets here and they don't know the area, they've never been to the area, and they want to give you rules that you've never heard about. They want to bring people that aren't as good as the people you already have. And FEMA's turned out to be a disaster. And you could go back a long way. You could go back to Louisiana. You could go back to some of the things that took place in Texas. It turns out to be the state that ends up doing the work. It just complicates it. I think we're going to recommend that FEMA go away. And we pay directly. We pay a percentage to the state. But the state should fix this. If the state did this from the beginning, it would have been a lot better situation. I think you guys agree with that, right? So I just want to say that Asheville, I know it well. It's a great place, and we're going to have it be a great place again. That was the one that was most severely affected. But North Carolina is going to come back bigger, better, stronger than ever before. And you're going to be very thankful. And you've already seen, I know that it really began 4 days ago, but you've already seen more action than you have in the last 3 months. And we're going to get it together. We're informing the Army Corps of Engineers to get going because you have a lot of river breaks and a lot of areas that you're going to need some pretty big work. and they're on their way. They're going to be working much harder than they've been working in the past, and we're going to take care of it. Any questions from the press of any of the congressman, governor, anybody?
So are you going to sign an executive order on FEMA, getting rid of it? Can you say more about signing an executive order to get rid of FEMA, please?
FEMA has been a very big disappointment. They cost a tremendous amount of money. It's very bureaucratic, and it's very slow. Other than that, we're very happy with them. Okay, and I think when there's a problem with the state, I think that problem should be taken care of by the state. That's what we have states for. They take care of problems. And a governor can handle something very quickly. You know, one of the things I've noticed, because I've been doing this for a while, and we had a pretty good FEMA, but I also noticed that when they come, they end up in arguments. They're fighting all the time over who does what. It's just not a good system. This system is so beautifully designed over 250 years approximately, you know, and we'll soon be celebrating the 250th year. It's going to be a very big celebration. But it's been designed very well, and we're going to leave it that way. When North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, Tennessee, when everybody knows the governor of Tennessee, I think, everybody? Do you know everybody here, pretty much? I never thought of it, but you're right over the ridge.
Right over the hillside.
So you're here to help. That's great.
The people in this region, including Tennessee, the people of Appalachia, are grateful that you are here and that you haven't forgotten them. And that there are other disasters, but this one was enormous for both North Carolina and Tennessee. So thank you.
You know, I've seen a lot of disasters, and when I came here right after, the day after. And when I came here, I couldn't believe it, actually. I couldn't believe the damage. And I've seen a lot of them. This was more like a tornado than it was what we witnessed. So we're going to get it very much taken care of. Good job. That's nice that you came. And so you call it you're right over the ridge, right, Tennessee?
Over the ridge, yes.
I like Tennessee, too. Let's see, where did I get more votes, Tennessee or North Carolina? I hate to tell you, North Carolina, it was Tennessee.
There's one of the counties in this disaster that had 88% for you. So
88%, yeah. No, it's the people are just incredible people.
Yeah.
So, do you have any questions, press?
Mr. President, you talked about conditions being placed on aid to California, voter ID, and the like. Are there any conditions that you're going to put on aid to North Carolina?
We're going to do a lot for North Carolina. You know, they've been very slow. I don't know why it's been so bad. This has been one of the worst I've seen. Katrina, of course, you know, was something that obviously that was a long time ago. That was not good. But this has been very slow. I don't know if that was for political reasons because they lost the state. You know, Biden lost the state. Maybe he felt he doesn't care. Maybe there were other reasons. I don't know. But this has been very slow. By any standard, this has been very slow. And we're gonna make up for lost time.
No conditions you're going to push for aid.
Well, in California, I have a condition. In California, we want them to have voter ID so the people have a voice, because right now the people don't have a voice because you don't know who's voting, and it's very corrupt. And we also want them to release the water. If they released the water, they wouldn't have had a problem. If they released the water when I told them to, because I told them to do it 7 years ago, if they would have done it, you wouldn't have had the problem that you had. You might not have even had a fire. So, but here I don't have that. It's a different thing. You got hit by a storm. The people are incredible. They worked really well. Franklin was fantastic, and other groups. By the way, other groups came in that were also fantastic, and other states came in. Tennessee and a couple of others came in, and they really helped. That's the way it's supposed to be. No, this is a different kind of a thing.
Mr. President, have you decided how much funding you would allocate for disaster relief in North Carolina?
About what?
Have you decided how much funding you would allocate for disaster relief?
I haven't. I have to see what it is.
Are you disappointed that Senator Schiff hasn't joined you on this trip? It's reported he invited Senator Schiff to join you on this trip and he was too busy. Are you disappointed?
I don't know. I was told that Schiff was going to travel with us to California. I wasn't thrilled, to be honest with you. And I saw him last night on television. It looks like he got hit with a baseball bat or something. What happened to him? Something happened to him. It looked like he got hit. It looked like he got beat around, but I'll ask Caroline to find out what happened to him. No, if he wanted to come out, I would have done that. But I don't know. Somebody said that he wanted to come on the plane, but I think he's staying back for the votes. There's some pretty good votes going on. Yeah.
President, what is your timeline for getting rid of FEMA?
For this one?
You just talked about possibly getting rid of FEMA. What timeline are you looking at, and how would you do that?
Well, we're looking here. Here you're talking about. To start, we're going to start immediately timeline. And to finish, it's going to be a period of time. You know, people are also rebuilding their houses. How long does it take to build a house, right? It takes some time. And I want them to build houses bigger, better, nicer than they had before, so they can have, at least they get something out of this disaster. This was a real disaster. No, timeline will be fast. In terms of infrastructure, I think very fast. I want to thank Elon, because Elon was able to get us communication systems, as you know, Starlink. We had no communication. The first day I got here, I was asked by one of the people, one of the really great representatives, professionals, that is there any way you could get Starlink here, because they had no communication whatsoever. And I called up Elon Musk, and he had, hundreds of units brought here, brought immediately. And it's hard to get. They couldn't get them before. And that made a lot of difference. I think it saved a lot of lives, actually. Yeah. Infrastructure-wise, we'll do it quickly.
Sir, can you just talk about how long you think it might take to get rid of FEMA? What's the timeline on that? If you're going to roll it back?
Yeah, I would say, look, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not really thinking about FEMA right now here. I'm thinking about Michael Watley, and I'm thinking about the 3 Congress people that you just heard from, and also the other people in Congress, and they'll be working with the governor. They'll be working with the governor, so that's what I see.
Change the subject real quickly. The Laken-Riley Act was signed by Speaker Johnson yesterday.
Right.
When do you anticipate to sign that into
Well,
office?
we're honored by that. Laken-Riley, I was there at the time, and we had a big meeting with the parents right after that horrible thing took place. And we have an act. You all know what that act represents. And it was a bipartisan bill. Many Democrats signed onto it. That's something that is a tribute to Laken, a beautiful young lady who was killed viciously by an illegal alien. And we passed a very powerful bill, and it was just approved, and we'll have a ceremony sometime very shortly. I'll be signing it. In other words, if you're asking, I will definitely be signing it. Okay? Yeah.
Mr. President, the security detail for Anthony Fauci was terminated last night, and I'm wondering if you have any comment on that.
About what?
The security detail for Anthony Fauci was terminated last night, sir. Do you have a comment?
No, I think, when you work for government, at some point your security detail comes off. And, you can't have them forever. So I think it's very standard. If it would be for somebody else, you wouldn't be asking the question. The question is very fair. But, you work for government. We took some off, other people too. But you can't have a security detail for the rest of your life because you worked for government.
Ask for it to be taken off, sir?
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Would you feel partially responsible if something were to happen to, say, Dr. Fauci or John Bolton?
No. They all made a lot of money. They can hire their own security, too. All the people you're talking about, they can go out. I can give them some good numbers of very good security people. They can hire their own security. They all made a lot of money. Fauci made a lot of money. They all did. So if they, felt that strongly, I think that certainly I would not take responsibility.
Now, North Carolina is a state that relies on trade and manufacturing. Are you going to have an announcement on new tariffs coming soon? Is there a timeline now?
Yeah, the tariffs are going to make our country rich. We're going to be a rich, rich country very soon. Tariffs are going to make it rich, and competence. We have common sense, competence, and tariffs. The word tariff is one of the most beautiful words in the dictionary.
Now, Jonathan Reynolds, the business secretary of the United Kingdom, said that there's an even trade between the U.S. and the UK, so they shouldn't have tariffs. Does trade imbalances or a balanced trade affect tariffs and your decisions?
Yeah, unbalanced and balance, and also deficits. Like with Canada, we lose $200 billion a year with Canada. That's because we allow them to make cars. We allow them to take lumber. We don't need their cars. We don't need their lumber. We don't need their food products because we make the same products right on the other side of the border. It's sort of crazy. So we've just allowed that, bad management has allowed it over the last 4 years in particular to become very imbalanced. And I said I call him Governor Trudeau, but he's Prime Minister Trudeau when he was Prime Minister. I asked him, why would we do that? Why? And he was unable to give me an answer. He said, I don't know. And I said, do you think it's fair that we're paying $200 billion to keep Canada going? And what would happen? I asked him, what would happen if we didn't do that, if we didn't subsidize Canada? He said, we'd be a failed nation. And I said, then you should be a state, because why are we paying all of that money to Canada when, we could use it ourselves, right? So we take care of their military. We're going to order about 40 Coast Guard big icebreakers, big ones. And all of a sudden, Canada wants a piece of the deal. I say, why are we doing that? I mean, I like doing that if they're a state, but I don't like doing that if they're a nation. Also, they've been very nasty to us on trade. Historically, Canada has been very, very bad to us, very unfair to us on trade. So we'll see how it all works out. I would love to see Canada be the 51st state. The Canadian citizens, if that happened, would get a very big tax cut, tremendous tax cut, because they're very highly taxed. And you wouldn't have to worry about military. You wouldn't have to worry about many of the things. You'd have better health coverage. You'd have much better health coverage. So I think the people of Canada would like it, if it's explained. But just to start off, they'd have a massive tax cut, and they'd have a lot more business, because then we'd let business go to Canada routinely, and there'd be no tariffs. If we did that, there'd be no tariffs.
The United Kingdom might be in a better spot then.
Reverend Franklin Graham has been a great asset to the state. Talk a little bit about the way the Samaritan Purse has helped North Carolina.
Yes, once again, the first.
Reverend Franklin Graham has been a big part of Samaritan Purse and their aid to North Carolina. Just want to get your thoughts on that.
Franklin Graham has been a big asset to the state. His father was a big asset to the state, to the country, both of them. I just think this. I think Franklin and other people that are doing what Franklin have done. But I've known Franklin so long. He was at the inauguration. He made a speech, beautiful prayer. He does a great job. And we made a big donation, and it was money well spent. Sometimes you make donations, it's not well spent. He's done a great job here. He's done a really great job. So I want to thank you. We're going to the site now, and one of the sites, and I think for those that haven't seen it, you won't even believe it, but not enough work was done. We'll get it done fast. And I can speak for the Republican congressman. We're going to knock it out, right? We're going to knock it out. And I think we take it very personally, because North Carolina was very unfairly treated. Very, very unfairly treated. And it was obvious. It was too obvious. And we're going to make up for lost time. So thank you to the people of North Carolina. Thank you, everybody.
If you notice when he was talking about Franklin Graham was sitting right next to him. In fact, he's talking to him right now as they're zooming in. That guy they're talking to is Franklin Graham. They had a tight camera, and you really couldn't see, but that was Franklin Graham sitting right next to him the entire time. Amazing. All right, so I guess we're not supposed to sleep. I'm going to lose a lot of weight, as SV said, because nobody knows. This man, again, he just pops up on camera. He's out there kicking butt, taking names. I'm going to leave that feed on a little while so you guys can see what's going on there. But he's got his group, the governor of Tennessee. I'm not sure if probably the governor of North Carolina was there as well. Franklin Graham was right to his left. So now they're going to go out and visit the site. And then he's going to go to California. So I'm thinking, let's see how long he takes. It's 12 o'clock now. Let's say he spends an hour and a half touring the site. He may talk there as well. Excuse me. Then he's going to fly to California. So it's probably going to be right at the time, right about 3:30 when I go live. He'll probably be ready to talk about California or sometime during that show. So we got the 3:30 show, which will then talk to, about what's happened during the day. And then we're going to go live for a third show tonight. Assuming asterisk, assuming they don't bump up the vote on Pete Hegseth. As you heard Congressman Timmons said, they will, probably keep it at 9 o'clock if they just want to play games, or if they want to go home, they'll bump it up. And so I'll keep an eye out for that. But there's Trump and Melania leaving the airport. I'm very, 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 very familiar with that airport. Every time we go to see Robin's relatives, we land there and in Asheville, and it's right there. All right, so North Carolina, now he's going to go see the site. Then from there, he's going to go to California. So we got a lot of work to do. Man, it's Friday. I thought we were supposed to have an easy day on Friday. Not with this boss. This boss expects you to work his hours. He doesn't sleep. Man, incredible. Absolutely incredible. All right, so what you caught from there, in case you didn't catch it, let me just bring you up to date on what I consider the bombshell of that presser. I've been telling you, maybe one of the few people have been telling you, that they were going to put some conditions on the aid in California. In fact, I had said they may even put a czar in control of the aid. Trump went much further. You guys didn't hear one of the people in the press, I'll have to cut it, but one of the people in the press goes, what kind of conditions? And one of them was, let the water flow and don't worry about the smelt right now. S-M-E-L-T, smelt, little tiny fish. But the bombshell that people in Washington, their heads exploded. People in California, their heads exploded. He said he's going to condition the aid on voter ID. They're going to lose it. At that point, he's going to have to say, what's more important, illegals and cheating in elections, or having the ability to help people rebuild? There is going to be some cognitive dissonance that I don't even think we have the possibility of measuring right now. People are going to have to look at their own virtue signaling and decide, do we want to fix this so we don't have this again and get the money? Or do we want to have, these false elections? That is now your choice, California. You are now going to have to deal with that. You're going to have to look all of your constituents in the face, all of them, and figure out, do you want help? It's very simple. It's cheap. It's very cheap. It doesn't cost you a dime. Just put voter ID as the law in California. That's all you got to do. It's very simple. Call in your House, call in your Senate, do an emergency session, and make voter ID the law in California. And then you're going to have all the money you need, bro. Oh, this is getting so... What?
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
I tell you, I'm going to wear out that button on my board. So your job is to get out there and let everybody know you 100% approve. We want voter ID in California if you want federal dollars. Tell everybody. Start hitting the buttons right now. Get on Facebook. Be like them old people in that casino hitting buttons. You have to give us voter ID to get my money. We now have a president who's standing up for the people's money you're giving out. You see, everybody else, Biden, everybody, you just here, Ukraine, you can have this, you can have that. Oh, well, you're not listening to us. We don't want you just giving money away. And so Trump knows there are a lot of people probably 80 million voters who say don't give California squat until they get their act together. And I think all of you pick up your phones, get on your laptops, get on your tablets, and start saying, oh, great idea. Voter ID in California for disaster support. Very simple negotiation. See, a negotiation is supposed to hurt. It's not supposed to be easy. That is going to cause some sphincter tightening at an elite level. Oh my God, they're going to freak out. The media is going to freak out. Everybody's going to freak out. But you know what you do when that's happening? You sit at the table. Y'all done screaming, or are we going to do a deal here? I don't really care. What did Biden say? I said, if you don't have this done by 5 o'clock, you ain't getting the money. And then, whoa, son of a gun. They got it done. Pull the Biden. You got until time I leave here, which is about 6 o'clock, because I'm heading to Nevada. You need to tell me whether we're going to do this deal. You can scream, run around, call the media, do whatever you need to do. Doesn't matter. I'm sitting here. I got the checkbook. So, go do what you got to do. That's when you know you're at a negotiation table. When you get to a negotiation table, the people negotiating, you don't have time to scream and moan, because that person is going... Somebody taught me a long time ago in negotiations, you have to be willing. You have to be willing to get up and walk away. The person who's unwilling to get up and walk away, you lose. You have submitted. You have acquiesced. If you're unwilling to walk away, you're done. So at this point, Trump, understand what he's doing. He's telegraphing. He's in North Carolina. He just told Gavin Newsom, I'll be there in a little while, but here's what's going to happen. So right now, all the people in California who heard that, it's reverberating throughout the halls of government in California. They now know the big guy's coming. I won't call him big guy anymore. The boss is coming, and he's going to tell you, if you want money, you got to do this. You know it's coming. There's no surprise. He just announced it on national television for all of us to hear. Now, run around, scream, do whatever you want to do. Call the media, call Jim Acosta, call, Rachel. It doesn't matter. When he sits at that table, that's what he's going to tell you. And what's going to happen is he's willing to walk away. Now, some of you may say, well, why would he walk away? There's constituents who are in trouble. He needs to let them know what their government just did. By putting that out there in the public, he just let them know your government is mortgaging your future because they believe that illegals and false elections are more important than you. And if you believe that, then make your choice. You do the same thing. I cannot believe that Trump wants to do this. This is un-American, blah, blah. Do it. Okay, now we're going to talk. Maybe he won't get voter ID. That's his starting point. Now the negotiation comes in. It's like, okay, if we can't do voter ID, how about we do, no illegals can vote. There's going to be a negotiation here. But he's let you know what his opening shot is. His opening shot is, here's a check, and it's going to cost you voter ID. Love it. Absolutely love it. While that was going on, I found this video that I wanted to show you. I may have to turn up the volume on this one. Hold on, let me see.
If he had been the president, if the victory wasn't stolen from him in 2020, maybe the Ukrainian crisis that arose in 2022 would have never appeared.
So notice what he said. He said if it wasn't stolen from him. He actually said those words. When I showed you the Daily Mail earlier, they didn't say stolen. He actually so they actually faked the words because of what they wanted to say. Oh my God, I am never turning off this camera. I am never going to go eat lunch. They do have a podium set up where the work is needed. So let's hold on. Let me show you what I'm seeing right now. There's going to be another press conference. Here's what I'm looking at. So they're going to be coming. Excuse me. Trump is going to be talking again here very shortly. They're all set up. They're waiting.
Awesome. As we wait for President Trump to take that podium in Asheville.
And such really in-depth remarks and analysis. I mean, really, I never thought of that, the tying of Bloody Sunday to January 6th, the idea that the fight for election integrity, so many people had to suffer in order to get to that land of freedom, to get into that sense of exodus as our Jewish...
All right, so call Uber Eats, get a delivery. Looks like we're going to be here for a little while. Depending on the road to this part of Asheville from the airport, it can't be more than 15 or 20 minutes away, depending on when he left. That looks like Caroline Levitt. Okay, somebody's texting me. Monica posted some info on FEMA. So this is fluid. We're live. This is different. All right, so let's go and look at what Monica posted while we're waiting for the next press conference, which is about to happen. Let me pull up Monica. So anyway, like I was saying, this is fluid. Lots of things happening at the same time. Didn't have this with Biden. Didn't have it at all. But we got something. Looks like Monica just posted. Like Trump just said. New President Trump says he may sign an executive order to get rid of FEMA. FEMA appears to have a history of denying aid and irresponsible actions. May 2024, Michigan officials requested help after 4 tornadoes swept some areas where mobile homes were flipped and over 100 buildings destroyed. FEMA denied the request, citing damage wasn't bad enough. 2021, Hurricane Laura destroyed parts of Louisiana, costing nearly $24 billion in damages, killing more than 80 people. Internal documents revealed low-income survivors of the hurricane were less likely to receive federal emergency aid. The money they did receive wasn't enough to cover the repairs. 2019, former FEMA official Asha Tribble pleaded guilty after accusations of fraud and bribery during construction of Puerto Rico's power grid post-Hurricane Maria. So, a lot of stuff flying on what was supposed to be a slow, I don't know if it was supposed to be a slow news day, but it's turned into quite the news day. We have this one, as you heard. President Trump terminated Dr. Anthony Fauci's security detail. It was pulled last night. Fauci will now have to pay for his own private security. I about threw up when he said, if he needs some security, I got a phone number for him. I'm like, oh man, this guy's just too much. He's just way too much. It's incredible. What else do we have here? Trump administration gives authority to ICE to terminate parole status for 1.5 million aliens, thus allowing them to be deported. Wow. Hits just keep coming. So while we're waiting for Trump to show up in Asheville, let's go ahead and take some of your comments. FEMA has you might have to have IV nutrition. Oh my goodness, it just keeps coming. Right on, yeah, Fauci, you're done. Funny, he made it sound like he had no part in it. Oh, who? Fauci? Oh, that guy? Yeah. Yes, Puerto Rico was politically weaponized. Very sad. Voter ID in every state in America. Yep. But can you imagine if they put voter ID in California, then they automatically, in my mind, they would lose California. They lose California, they indeed will never win another election. You could have, and do the same thing in New York while you're at it. Make ID. If you got voter ID in New York and California, the Democrat Party would cease to exist. It'd be done. It would be absolutely done. Tip your food delivery driver, people. All right, so we're going to be here for a while. Trump laying the hammer down. He is. Fauci, I have a security company you can hire. and the biggest thing about this, as you guys all know clearly here, it's been, I can't say 4 days. We're into the fourth day. We're just now into the fourth day. This is incredible, absolutely incredible. So I'm still waiting for Trump. It looks like they're doing something here. Hold on.
And as you see there, the camera operator working on the lighting situation and just switching filters there. So if you're wondering what the heck just happened, that's what just happened. Obviously, the president is not there yet, but is meeting with some of the families there as they are organizing the whole platform there as we await the president. You are looking live at 12:15 Eastern. We've been on the air straight since 9 a.m. Eastern, and that's something you can come to rely on here at Right Side Broadcasting Network. At this point, what we're doing is RSBN Live starting at 9 a.m. specifically stuff. Monday through Friday. And then, of course, if there's any breaking news or other...
Somebody's picking up pallets. It looks like her. I'm pretty sure that's Caroline Levitt getting everything set for Trump with the big Russian Cossack looking hat, getting ready for him. She said, get those doggone pallets out the way. So it won't be too much longer before one of her guys is like, back up, I got this. This is too funny. Getting ready for the boss. Oh, very interesting. Very interesting. So he's going to be talking again. And let me cut back to that. I'm going to talk over it, but I want you guys to take a look at this.
At eliminating FEMA altogether.
Look at that house. That house has been sitting there since September. There is no reason why that house should be still sitting there all this time. It is mid to late January. So September, October, November, December, 4 months. You could have rebuilt the house in 4 months. Why is that house still sitting there? What kind of red tape have those people been under? Why did the insurance, and if they, okay, let's assume they didn't have insurance, because if they did have insurance, that property should be fixed up. But now if they didn't have an insurance, FEMA didn't help them rebuild their house. They weren't given a construction loan. No construction mortgage. You see, there's a difference there as well. There's immediate help, which basically you need to live. I need food, I need shelter. And then you need longer term help. So you would have to have a mortgage that could actually help you rebuild that house. So when you're looking at that house back there, and
we'll have a rally tomorrow
on this property. Wait, what?
Just a lot going on here. And
he's sitting at that property right there. They're living in a Winnebago out in front of their house. You can see that. They're living in a Winnebago. The Winnebago is right there. You can tell it's being occupied because the wheels, the chassis of the Winnebago is down. But at this point, they should have had a mortgage loan. And they should have contractors out there. That house should be just about finished. It's not a big house. It looks like maybe a 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom, 1-bath house. There's no reason why that thing shouldn't be reconstructed by now. Unreal. What inefficiency is going on with the Biden administration. My head is spinning with all the winnings. Let's see. They put FEMA was using the money for all the illegals. Yep. How shameful is that? How wow. The people care about the weaponization of government and a hostile takeover from many facets. So what you just saw, I just showed you the video of Vladimir Putin talking. So if Putin wants to end the war, and I'm sure just like with everything else, he's going to have a negotiation. I will stop if you stop. I'll stop if you stop. What do you want to stop? Well, I want this. Well, I can't give you. And then someone in the middle, just like in any negotiation, was like, hold on, Val. Like, hey, Zelensky, here's what and you just go back and forth until you actually get to a meeting and say, okay, we're done. It's not that hard. It really isn't that hard. It was another thing that people now are starting to wake up and realize how much intentional Biden and Kamala injured this country. The intentionality of all the moves they made. I said many times, I don't think it's incompetence anymore. I was convinced nobody can be this bad. This has to be on purpose. I mean, Mayorkas pretty much came out and said it at the end. Hey, I was just sorry. I was just doing what they told me to do. You piece of crap. You absolute piece of crap. You knew these people were suffering. You knew they were flooding the border, and you did it for a paycheck. Unreal. We all knew Biden was going to pardon all these criminals. Like Congressman Timmons said, now they got to come in now. Now you got to come in, and I've got to ask you a question. You can't say no. If you accept the pardon, you got to bring your butt in there. And like he said, they don't dare lie. You can't, like somebody said, oh, I can't recall. There's no reason to do that. You got a pardon. I can't come after you. So there's no reason for you to lie and obfuscate. That's got to be Caroline Levitt. It's a cute hat. Anyway, she's running, trying to get everything settled for Trump. The Democrats are finished. That's what I've been saying. Because you're going to see a lot of Democrats who are hardliners. They weren't the crazies. The crazies are still going to be crazy. There is no helping those people. There is no coming back for them. They are done. They are going to have to find psychiatric help. There's nothing else that can help them. They've gone all in on their Transformer, cosplay, and that's what they were sold. And now they're wondering, what the hell do we do? Sorry, you went to the fringe. You live on the fringe. We love you, Barry. Thank you. What Trump has already done is mind-blowing. Such a proud supporter over here. Yeah, it is mind-blowing. But it's only mind-blowing if you don't understand that the dementia patient and the whatever you want to call Kamala didn't care. They didn't care. There's nothing that Trump has done thus far. Just understand this. There's nothing that Trump has done thus far that Biden and Kamala couldn't do or couldn't have done. They could have, went to North Carolina and said, we're going to fix this. They could have went to California and said, we're going to fix that. They could have went to Mayorkas and said, go ahead and round these people up. Everything. It's so, you could do it. You and I could. These are no-brainer decisions. The brainer decisions we haven't even seen yet. But thus far, I'm looking in these 4 days, and I'm like, every single thing this man has done is completely common sense. Everybody's like, well, why don't we close the border? Okay, close the border. Why aren't we helping North Carolina? Let's help North Carolina. Why don't we help people in California, but don't just hand them money? Okay, that's what we'll do. These have been all no-brainer decisions. Your local, never mind your local mayor. You could have done these things thus far. It's just amazing that we've seen such, I don't want to use the word incompetence. Oh, this is it. Yeah, we've seen such pure evil where these people wanted to hurt us for nothing more than money. Biden could have went to Davos and said, nope, it's America first. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Biden could have done everything you saw Trump do in front of Klaus Schwab and the boys yesterday. Nope, just didn't do it. So thus far, yes, Trump is kicking butt, but you realize everything he's done is just like, yeah, it makes complete sense. And we're excited and we're accepting the win because the common sense is being enacted. We have gone 4 years with there being no common sense. And so as you're thinking to yourself, okay, what's next? What can he do next that is probably going to be another common sense thing. You can, and next thing up would be, yeah, stop the war. Oh, duh. That's easy. What about, even when I said with Congressman Timmons, I'm like, so what's next? And he goes, yeah, the reconciliation. It's easy. We're going to come here and change the budget. Duh. There are a lot of duh moments happening right now, and the Democrats can't stop it. Remember, all of this is happening with basically none of his cabinet members being in place. Yes, he's got the CIA director and John Ratcliffe, and he's got Marco Rubio, who, by the way, is heading down to Panama today. Wonder why Marco Rubio is going to Panama. And one of the stats that Congressman Timmons mentioned, it blew me away, that today was the 5th day of nobody being shot in New York City for the first time in 30 years. Why? Well, because you do stuff, you're going to jail. Oh, that and the fact of the newcomers that were causing the problem, they're laying low right now. The one thing you don't want to be is stick your head out like whack-a-mole and be that idiot doing crime in any city if you're not supposed to be here. You better hit the mattresses and hope that you don't get found out. But then now you got some cities saying, I think somewhere in Louisiana, they're going to put out bounties. They'll get $1,000 for every person you point at. And you know people are hurting right now. That $1,000 is going to cause the phone to ring. Hey, yeah, there's like 5 of them. They're in this apartment next door. Yeah, and they're here right now. Yeah, there's like 10 of them in this apartment. Yes, you can send a check to Barry Cunningham. Yes, send me that check. How many people are going to make those phone calls for $1,000? For $1,000? You bet it. They'll be hiding in the attics. Ungrateful Democrats. Yes, now this is again, release the island list. What is that? That's another common sense thing to do. That's not even like a hardball. Everything you guys are mentioning are just like, yeah, that makes sense. Why are we hiding this list? Why are we hiding the sexual harassment payoffs? Why are we hiding all this? Let it, as he said yesterday, everything will be revealed. Why is it that you're in Washington and you get, to do insider trading? I don't know if you saw AOC. She basically said they're doing insider trading. There are so many things in this first 100 days that the hard stuff. Let's see, what would be a hard thing? Hard thing is, balancing the budget. But it's a common sense decision. It's just going to be hard to do. Making sure that boys don't play girl sports, that's a common sense thing. So it was easy putting all that together. We're just loving the winning because it's like, I can't even, was it really that easy? Yeah, it was that easy. Just needed somebody with the cojones to get it done. Barry's going to be slim and trim, keeping up with DJT. So just let you know what happened to go with that. Ashley calls me last night and says, hey, listen, I got 2 interviews for you, but they're going to be early in the morning. I'm like, what is it? She goes, Monica wants to talk about before Trump and what all the stuff he's getting ready to do. All right, we'll get Monica. Oh, Congressman Timmons wants to come on at about 11. I'm like, all right, so let's go ahead and put Monica on early, and we'll bring in Congressman Timmons, and then I'll be ready to go to lunch. And then that's when Trump got involved. Trump decides he's going to go to Asheville and stop and do 1 press conference, and now he's about to do his 2nd press conference of the day, which that means there's going to be another one in California. And there'll probably be another one in Nevada, because by the time he gets to Nevada, they'll be voting on Pete Hegseth. So he's going to have to come out and talk again. Pray for me. But it's fun. I mean, we were going through the entirety of the campaign, and we'd have a rally. That would be it. And he'd do a speech, and that would be it. Now we're doing this stuff 2 or 3 times a day. I'm loving it. I got to spend some time with the wife, but bought her a couple presents, so she's happy for now. But this is amazing. We are living through history being created just because of what we all did on November 5th. We knew it was going to be good. We knew this man had ideas. I don't think any of us could have imagined on his 4th day in office we would be talking this way. Fasting may be good for several of us. Love having the Barry channel on all day. Well, you might be all day today. Barry No Sleep is your new nickname. And what's really fun about it is I keep getting texts from SV and Ashley, and let's see what this one is. See if they found something else, which I love. I absolutely love that I get this. This is it. This is from a deputy sheriff friend that I have up in Orlando. He goes, is it me or is the first lady looking gangsta this term? If you didn't see her walk out with him, you'd think she was Secret Service. She is. You know, people have been saying that her look on Inauguration Day with her hat down here was the V for Vendetta. She's looking fierce out there. I mean, just absolutely fierce. So they're moving around right now, getting ready. But yeah, no sleep. I love it. It's been 4 years, 5D chess, 4 years of losing. Sometimes when I'm busy, I forget to eat. Yep. Barry, please bring Scott Pressler on the show. He's a MAGA hero. Ashley, you're hearing this. Okay, bring him on. We got to do this. What's being talked about? Yeah, okay, so everyone's getting ready as Trump is going to meet with these victims. So he's going to... Wow. So Melania is the bomb. You know what? While we're waiting, I just want to tell you this, if I can sneak it in. Go ahead and join our X group. It's free. It's private. And if you want to get your feet wet on X and talk to some really good people, go ahead and join fanfareshop.org/group, and you can join 13,000 plus fellow patriots. And if you'd like to sign up to win a hoodie that will be given out tonight, please go to fanfareshop.org to register to win a hoodie. All right, so waiting for Trump to show up at this point for this next press conference. Yeah, we could barely get a single press conference out of Joe Biden. And if it was a press conference, it was him reading off a cue card with some stupid question, and he'd answer one or two questions and waddle off. That'd be it. This dude's probably gonna have as many as 3 press conferences today, maybe more. Maybe more. I'm not even sure. Let's see what's going on in North Carolina.
Displaying the national anthem, and of course America's sweetheart Carrie Underwood singing God Bless America, and doing it a cappella, mind you. And she was someone as well who graceful.
All right, so they're filling for time, waiting for him to show up. But the lower third is interesting. Check out the lower third.
Carrie Underwood needs no assistance with her.
It says President Trump is in the motorcade in Asheville during his first domestic trip of his
Reverend Franklin Graham, the past.
All right, so he's on his way out to, I see Scott, Dan Scavino standing there. So it shouldn't be too much longer. Oh, Franklin Graham, and here comes the boss. No, that's Franklin Graham. I don't see Trump yet. Here, I'll let you guys see this.
And I'm sure we will see some of...
So that's Franklin Graham, the tall guy with the gray hair. That's Margot Martin. If you're not following Margot, you should be. Margot's great. But there won't be too much longer, and he should be coming out. All right, so take some more comments. What we got here? Let's see here. Melania looks 20 years younger than she is. I don't even know how old she is, but they just celebrated their 20th anniversary. She is gangster. Barry needs some delivery of food. I have some like protein bars here that I take a bite in between. So once he starts talking, I go to his camera. I can like chew that down. Barry Dementia Joe was lucky to get out one press conference. Never going to see 3 or 4 of them in a day. He wouldn't even do 3 or 4 in a month. All right, so I'm looking here. Yep, he just arrived. So let's go ahead and cut to this camera, this angle, as the boss has just showed up. All right.
Shot, what you're going to see is, kind of a ramshackle house. You'll see some damage done. We saw this shot a little bit earlier. And this is President Trump at his best. We can't hear him just yet. But we're listening to him now with Franklin Graham. They're having a private conversation. And Emily, Samaritan's Purse, you made this point about private organizations. No one has done more for this area than Save Our Allies and Samaritan's Purse. And he's there with some victims, and you just imagine what they've been through, feeling neglected by the federal government, and the symbolism of the first trip of a new president coming to meet with them.
Yes, and how many have felt.
So he's doing right now, this was a tour for him to meet with victims of the hurricane up in Asheville area. I guess they're calling it Swannanoa, North Carolina. These people are people who were victims of it. So you've got Melania with the black hat to Trump's left. She's got her black hat with her shades on. And then to his right is Franklin Graham, and these are some of the victims of the Hurricane Helene. So he's talking to them first, which is, basically getting close to constituents. And then he's got the other people over to his right, which he's probably going to spend some time talking to them. So the media, you're on the outside just like us looking in. You're looking at Donald Trump, who's taking the time to show his empathy and meet with people, not just go directly to the podium and like, bye, I gotta go, like Kamala did. He's actually talking to victims of the hurricane, which I love. And I love the fact that he brought Melania along. And I shouldn't say brought. She may have said, hey, I'm going. I don't know. But in any event, she's there. She's able to talk to these people from a wife, a mother, that perspective, a whole different perspective, which I'm sure the women who are going to be met there would love to hear. And she'll also get, as a mom, as a wife, to see what these people are living through, how they're having to live. And don't think that when she gets Donald alone, she's not saying, hey man, these people can't live this way. And he's like, I know, we're going to be doing. No, they can't live this way. Put yourself in their shoes. They cannot live this way. They're living out of a flipping Winnebago. That's insane. Absolutely insane. So looks like he's moving to the podium right now. Or Franklin Graham. Nope, Franklin Graham is introducing him to more victims, and so he's going to spend some time talking to them first. This isn't something we saw with Biden whatsoever. Remember Biden on the tarmac when the bodies were coming off the plane, and he's like checking his watch. Well, yeah, what time's lunch? Got to get out of here. Got to get my oatmeal. But Trump's meeting some of these people. Yep, Trump loves people. He absolutely does. The spirit, this is a great thing, the spirit of America is back. So it looks like he's heading to the podium right now. And let's go ahead and jump in and take this.
And let's listen in. Here's Franklin Graham.
Honor to be here with these people today that have suffered so much. And to lose everything you have, and you just wonder what you're going to do and where you're going to go. And we just thank God, and I want to say thank God that He's given us the resources to be able to help. And a lot of people have helped, and not just Samaritan's Purse, but there's been many different organizations and volunteers that have just come to Western North Carolina and East Tennessee to help. I grew up, this is my backyard, I grew up about 8 miles or so from here. And went to high school right down the road, about a mile down the road. And so this is home to me. But we've got a family today. We've got the West family. This is their house. So we're here today to show the president just a little bit of the damage and the problems that the people of Western North Carolina are facing. So, Mr. President, thank you for what you have done for Western North Carolina. Thank you for coming again to see. Thank you, your son Don Jr., he came with us twice. And so they've taken a real interest. And this isn't a politician coming down here looking for votes. This is a man who wants to do something, who wants to see some changes, who wants to make life better for you. So thank you. And Melania, thank you so much for coming. It's an honor to have you here with us. So, Mr. President, please.
Thank you very much, Franklin. Thank you. All right, good man. He's done a great job, a fantastic job. And we've come to North Carolina with a simple message for all the people of this region who are hit so hard by Hurricane Helene. And that message is very simple. You are not forgotten any longer. You were treated very badly by the previous administration. And I'm here after a few days of the administration. We're going to California, Los Angeles. They got hit hard, as you know. A lot of that could have been prevented, I think, if they had water, which they had plenty of, but they didn't use it. But I'm going there. But and it was set up to go there. They said, well, what about North Carolina? They said, well, what would you? I said, I have to stop there first. I'm stopping in North Carolina. So we made the stop, and I feel very good. You're represented by some great people, great congressmen are with us, and we're going to get involved with them. And Michael Whatley is here, who is the head of the Republican Party. He worked with Laura Trump to take us through to a tremendous victory. One of the, as the media says, one of the most consequential presidential elections ever. They say in 129 years, whatever that may mean. But whatever it is, it was a great election we had, and we won your state. All three times we won your state. And all three primaries we won your state. So we won it 6 times, I guess, Mr. Congressman. And it's a great place. And I wanted to come here. And before I went anywhere, frankly, in the campaign, I promised that I'd come back to Western North Carolina to help the people of the state. And today, here I am to deliver on that promise. And we have a lot of things in mind. And we're getting the Army Corps of Engineers all set. You need your riverbanks fixed. You need a lot of roads fixed. And we're going to get it done in rapid time. And I've asked Susie Wiles and all of my people to start calling up, get the Corps ready, and they're going to get ready to go. I don't know what it is. I don't know what took so long for the other administration. But remember, I wasn't here for the first 4 months or 3 months, whatever it may be. See, we can only start as of essentially 1 or 2 days ago, and we've made a lot of progress over the last couple of days, Michael. I understand we're going to get you the resources you need and the support that you deserve, and we'll be at your side through every step of the rebuilding, and no American is going to be left behind. The people that I just met are so great, and the people that own that house is going to be very beautiful in a little while. And who knows, if Franklin decides, maybe he'll rip it down and build him a new one, because sometimes you can do that just as easily, but we're going to take care of the people. I want to thank our great First Lady for coming today. She really wanted to be here. She said, no, I want to go. And, she sees what happened, and she felt very badly, and she wanted to go. And we're then going out together to Los Angeles, but she wanted to be in North Carolina. She saw what happened. She has a feeling like I do for North Carolina. So thanks as well to a great gentleman, Franklin Graham, and his father, Billy Graham. I used to go with my father to Yankee Stadium and places to watch his father preach. And he was some preacher. You got good stock. You come from the ultimate genes, I can tell you. But he was really something. And Franklin, though, has done so much, and his father's looking down on him right now. I guarantee for a long time he's been looking down on Franklin, saying, I'm very proud of you, son. He really is, because what Franklin's done with Samaritan's Purse is incredible. They told me just yesterday that Samaritan's Purse has been great, but the FEMA people sort of left you high and dry, but we're going to change that around. We're not happy with FEMA. As well as all of the representatives. You have great representatives here. Chuck Edwards, who's here someplace. Where's Chuck? Where's Chuck? Chuck. Tim Moore. Tim, thank you, Tim. Great job, too. Both of you guys. Virginia Fox, a power.
She's a power, that one. Don't ever have her as your enemy. It's not good. It's not healthy. Pat Harrigan. Good job, Pat. Addison McDowell. These guys were just here, just put in, and they're doing a fantastic job. Addison, thank you very much. Great. Mark Harris. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Mark. Brad Knott. Thank you, Brad. Greg Murphy. Fantastic guy, my friend for a long time now, right? And the RNC chairman, Michael Whatley, who really, as I said, brought us to a great victory with Lara, the chairman of the party, the whole Republican. I took Michael Whatley from North Carolina because he did the best job and put him in charge of everything, and the job they did together was incredible. Last September, Hurricane Helene became one of the deadliest natural disasters in modern American history. Rainfall rose to far more than 30 inches, which is lethal, unleashing unprecedented devastation throughout western North Carolina and many other states, as you know, but you got hit the hardest. The highest responsibility and deepest obligation of the American government is to protect its people, and that's never truer than in times of emergency like this. Unfortunately, our government failed you, but it wasn't the Trump government. It was a government run by Biden. What a terrible situation. But our government failed the people of North Carolina in this horrible crisis. For 2 months, Asheville lacked running water, and even today, some North Carolinians can't take a hot water shower. They can't drink water. They don't know where to get it. It's delivered to them by some, or they just go out and somehow find some. It's been 4 months since the storm made landfill, and still 180 roads remain closed and in ruins. Earlier this month, the Biden administration kicked 2,000 displaced North Carolinians out of their temporary housing into freezing 20-degree weather. I don't know how they did that one, because it was cold, even while your government provided shelter and housing for illegal aliens from all over the world. But under the Trump administration, the days of betrayal and neglect are over. They are over. As I said in my inaugural address, we restore the integrity, competency, and loyalty of the American government. And I think I said most of it in the inaugural address. We said a lot of things, but one of the groups of people I was thinking about is you in North Carolina. A lot of that was in reference to you and what you've had to suffer. I'm pleased to announce that under our leadership, the federal government will be surging housing solutions to the state that go beyond mere temporary hotel stays that ended up being very short term. The government wouldn't do it any longer, which is ridiculous. We'll marshal all available resources to bring back potable water and make your water and infrastructure dramatically more reliable very quickly. Today, I'll also be signing an executive order slashing all red tape and bureaucratic barriers and permits to ensure the rapid reconstruction of the roads here in western North Carolina. We're going to go through a permitting process that's called no permitting, just get it done. That's the way they built them many years ago, I guarantee you that, right? We will get them back very quickly, and we'll begin the work of fundamentally changing, terminating, or overhauling FEMA. FEMA's been a disaster, no matter where they are. We're honored to be joined today very quickly by several families affected by the vicious storm. I'd like to ask each of them to share their story. Chris and Kim West, you could come forward. Ramona Nix, Jackie Mitchell, and Thomas Gary Bright. And finally, the Wright family. And come on up and maybe say a few words, please. Thank you very much. Hello.
Hi.
Come on in here.
Whenever it started, we started moving our vehicles to the top of the road, and by the time we got the vehicles moved, the water had already hit our ankles in the house. And so I grabbed my purse and my little pug dog, and my husband grabbed the dog food and put it in a trash bag, and by the time we got out into the driveway, it was already waist deep, and there was sticks and that kind of thing. I didn't think I was going to make it, but we did make it out, and we made it to the top of the road, and we were kind of stuck there for hours because we couldn't get out any of the ways because it was flooded all the way around. It took us hours, and we sat there, and finally it receded enough to where we could actually get out. It was probably like close to midnight, and it started like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. We just lost everything that we had. Didn't even have a brush for like 3 days. So.
Thank you. Go on.
Thank you.
Okay, good. Would you like to say something with that beautiful baby?
So, hey. When the hurricane storms hit North Carolina, hit our home, my daughter and my wife and I were actually out of town. But unfortunately, my dad was still at home, and my mother was staying at our house with our animals. And the waters got so high that it actually lifted between that and the tornado that came through, or microburst is what they've been calling them, and lifted his home and the house that I grew up in and crashed it into our barn. It took away his business. It took away all of our tools and tractors and everything needed to keep the farm going. And my mother was trapped in the house, and there was no way to escape because the water got so high. The only thing she could do was ride it out and wait till the waters came down. So we've been doing a little bit of battling with our insurance and FEMA. We did have proper insurance with flood insurance and homeowners insurance, but since we had proper insurance, FEMA's not been able to assist us with a whole lot of things. And again, we've been having some issues with trying to get some payout for our insurance in a timely manner. We had to do mold mitigation on our home, which is extremely expensive, before the structural engineer even came out in order to get our flood payout. And to me, that was not really acceptable.
Has the insurance company been responsive or not really?
Not so much. Again,
They give you the money they have to give you?
I'm hoping so. And we need some assistance with that. We reached out to an attorney.
What's the name of the insurance company?
North Carolina Farm Bureau.
You got to move it, right?
Yep.
That's terrible.
That's what we're after here.
Are a lot of people having that problem too? With the insurance companies, general, different insurance companies, and they're all difficult, or just the one particular one?
I've heard different stories from others, and a lot of folks are
responsive.
And I've heard some good instances of even Farm Bureau themselves. But in my case, they'd send out a third-party adjuster immediately. Well, they wound up firing that third-party adjuster group. He gave us a quote for a much higher estimate than what we received.
And he got fired?
And then he got let go. Yeah, he got fired. So then they brought in another third-party adjuster to come in and lowball us. We've not received any kind of... So the flood insurance is our primary insurance, and so there was roof leaks in the home that the inspectors found, the adjusters. Well, that contributed to us losing some of our personal property as it come in the third story where there's no, or second story living space, where the flood water, well above the floodwaters. So they've neglected us for...
Is your mother saved?
Yes, she's saved.
So
Yep.
you wrote it out?
She's right here.
Okay.
So we made it.
That was not exciting, right?
That's right.
How scared were you?
Very.
Did you think you were going to make it?
No.
You didn't think so?
Nope. I just started praying.
So you were sort of on a boat. Your house became a boat.
It's a big pontoon.
That's some story.
It was a beach house on the steps.
I'll bet this guy would like to say something.
I was next door to the house, and my son was out of town, so when he came in to Charlotte to my sister's, he called about 2 in the morning because at midnight the water was still in the stream, within the banks. So when he called, the water was coming up, so I started moving vehicles up to about 5:30 in the morning, and she was in the house, and I pulled up to the steps and I said, hop on the fender and I'll get you out. Well, he built a beach house on stilts, 5 times higher than the floodplain. And she said, well, he said I'd be okay. So I'm staying with the dogs. So I went to higher ground with some vehicles, hers included, and the water covered everything. But I'd already seen it come around both sides of my place. So I got my blind and deaf dog and a bag of valuables and took up off the side of the hill behind my house, and then was heading to the cemetery back there because I knew it was open, because there was trees falling and uprooting. It was raining.
You never saw anything like that?
No, I've been through floods all my life around there. Never nothing.
Never been anything like that. But you're okay, right?
Yep. House destroyed.
Yeah, well, we're going to help you out. We're going to help you out.
Appreciate it. Thanks for being here.
Anybody else? You guys okay?
Our day that morning began a little taller with some trees falling into our house, which our house is goes back 4 generations, 80 years, and never came close to flooding. And we woke up with trees about 4:30 or 5 in the morning, and our house sits 3/10 of a mile back off the road, and the water, we've had flooding and such in the lake, but nothing like we saw. And like most everybody else, we moved 5 vehicles this far up, and lawnmowers and everything else, and the water started coming in the house. And when I got up to about ankle high, we have a loft. I got her up in that and tried to gather what you might want, which was totally random. And then when it made it to the loft and started getting up to about her hips, I built a little makeshift ladder, and we got out on our roof. And we spent 4 hours on the roof. I had a little baggie. I did notes on my cell phone to my 2 kids and my 2 grandkids, and something to identify me in case we were lost in it.
Did you think you were going to make it?
No, we're.
Oh, you didn't?
Yeah, we didn't think we were going to make it at all. I mean, our house was 25 feet underwater.
So you didn't think you were going to live?
No, we were watching houses, trailers, bodies coming by us. And we lived in the Azalea Road area in East Asheville. Yeah, we watched our garage float by. Yeah. But, we got to a point where it crested about 4 feet up on the roof. We took about 3 or 4 hours for it so we could kind of do everything in reverse, and got out in the mud to higher ground. And I got out higher ground up to a subway and got over to her daughter's house, where when she saw that I didn't have her, she lost it. And I was like, she's okay, she's alive. And we tried to make our way back in there and gather things best we could. But, found a body right away. There was about 8 bodies in our area that first 2 weeks located. And we were lucky we weren't one of them, and blessed. But like other people, no insurance on flood insurance, so we had to depend on FEMA. They did what they could do, and of course it's not enough. Yeah, that's crazy. But again, we're thankful to be alive, but it's a long haul.
What are you doing now?
Staying in a camper. I've never been, if y'all notice, I'm a big guy. I don't sleep in campers very well. And the first night we spent in the camper, very grateful with the Asheville Dream Center coming through with the one. And
you still have the land?
Oh yeah, it's family land. Yeah, the land, it looks like a beach now. It's sand, but
Can it be built on it?
Yes.
Do you intend to do that?
Yes.
You want to build again?
Yeah, Samaritan's Purse. We're working with them. We're working with people. It's 80 years, 4 generations.
But the house is totally gone.
No, the house is there. It's down to they came in and mudded it, but everything in it was completely destroyed. But it's tough. I think we're at a point in Asheville where people's forgot about Asheville, and it's stagnant. Everything is stopped. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
Take care.
Thank you, Jack.
Thank you. Thank you. Please.
I'm a pastor in the XO Church right down the road. We had only purchased in May, and it's a big church. We're a small congregation, And I had people say, what are you going to do with this big building? And I said, only God knows. And we had our dedication, and the storm came the next week. And the outpouring of people, my son brought the first load of supplies. And from there, I stayed there for about 3 months. I slept on the floor for about 3 weeks because the need was so great. The people were so devastated, and I said, I want to be here for them. And they were coming in just day and night, so there's really no need for me to go home. But we had people from Kentucky, Tennessee, Texas, Indiana, Oklahoma, people from all over. We have not received any help, like from the government or anything. But I said, Lord, if you want us to do that, people.
So they came from
all over the states.
But FEMA did nothing.
It was the locals.
Wasted time and money.
The locals and the people that knew us. And before the week was over, our church was so packed with supplies we couldn't even walk. Even in our sanctuary, it was up to the platform of things, and in our halls and in our rooms, and we're just now beginning to get a little straightened out. But somebody said, how long are you going to be here? I said, I'm going to be here through the winter and even on, if possible, because when you meet people that's been through the struggle. I had a little lady come up, and I said, can we do anything special for you? And she said, I don't want to be selfish, but said, could I have a cup of coffee? And I handed her that coffee, and she stood there, and tears just poured. She said, you don't realize how important the little things. It's not the big things in life that we have, but it's the little things, and knowing that God is our source. I don't look to man. I don't have to have a lot of things. I had trees, about 20 trees down in my yard, but that didn't really matter. It doesn't matter, because the needs of the people is what I want to be there for. God is good. He's very good. And my daughter now, her house is really in bad shape, and I'll let her tell you about that. But thank you, President. This is our president. We appreciate you so much.
I live out in the Fairview area of North Carolina, and near the Bat Cave, Lake Lear area. And our area was hit. It was hit really hard. I was home alone, and my husband had stayed in town because we take care of a little lady that's 98 years old, and she lives out in the woods by herself. And I said, just stay with her and make sure that she's okay. And I got up the next morning, and my first thought was, I want to go see what our road and bridge looks like. So as I was making it down to the road and the bridge, there was no road and bridge. And so, here we are, we're like at a little island, we can't access the main road or anything. And then the fire department came by the next day and said that they were evacuating me and my neighbor because a landslide was going to come. And they told me to get my stuff and get ready. And so while I was getting my stuff and getting ready, there was a knock at the door, so I thought it was the fireman. And I went to the door, and there stood my 21-year-old son. His name's Nathan, and he had drove as far as he could to get to me, but he hiked 5 miles, and it took him a really long time. And he got there, and he said, Mom, grab a bag, we gotta go. And I said, son, there's no way I can hike out of here. And he's like, no. He said, we got to go. So we started hiking out, and I seen one of my neighbors who, she had no clothes on. Her skin was like chunked up. It was just, she was blue. She had been in the waters, and where she had went, or I don't know, but horrific is just all I can say. But then as me and my son hiked on out, we went through where this place, we call it Craigtown, but there were like a lot of family members there that passed away, like 11 of them, and there were people out everywhere looking for their loved ones, and there were dead bodies. My son's like, Mom, you're going to see things you don't want to see. And so anyway, we got through all that, but I stayed at our church, and our sound booth. My husband and I, we just slept up in the sound booth for a couple of months because we didn't have power or anything for about 2 months out there. And then we have went back. I've been fighting with FEMA since day one. Our community, there's like 32 homes. We don't have a road and a bridge. We're driving through our neighbor's property. I went to EMS and I said, look, my concern is if we have a fire or we have an emergency out here, you're not going to get to us. You can't get those big trucks up here. And I've called and called and called FEMA. And, I said, this happened on September 27th. That's 4 months ago. Well, for us, today is still September 27th. We haven't had help. And so when I talk to FEMA, I'm explaining the road and the bridge, and they send me a letter that tells me to basically fix it and send in my receipts, and they'll refund me some money. I'm looking at a road and bridge that honestly, the bridge itself is probably going to be $300,000, and the road could be close to that also, because the community has to have big boulders brought in. We're not a rich community. We can't fix it ourselves. It's just, and as far as like house repairs, I'm still pending. I can't get money from FEMA until I fix the road and bridge and send in my proof that it's fixed and everything. It's been a nightmare, and I totally feel like that we have been forgotten. If it had not been for our fellow American citizens who stepped up to help us, I don't know what we would have done. I have 5 neighbors around me who completely lost everything. I had damage to my house, and I don't feel entitled. I'm embarrassed to even say I need help, because and sometimes there's even that survivor's guilt is what they're calling it, but you feel guilty to even be alive sometimes. When you look around, you see your neighbors that are gone, and it's just, we need help. I wrote a letter to send to Congress. I don't understand what's going on. If we can't get FEMA help, then will you guys help us? Will you step up and be our fellow citizen? Will you step up and be our neighbor and send us something? Help us get our community back. I could go on. It's just I don't know, it's just heartbreaking. I appreciate you.
Good daughter you have, huh? Good daughter. Take care of Mom. And your son must be great.
My son is great.
No, he sounds like a real leader and smart.
He really is. To hike
How would you have been if he didn't come and get you?
I don't know. I'd just would have been there because the only thing we could do, there was no way to get out there. The only thing we could do is just hike up to the church, the first church that was up there, about 3 miles, just to get, maybe what we needed or something. I don't know. He is. Thank you.
Again, thank you very much, everybody. So we're going to be here. We're going to be working with our congressmen and women, and they're going to do a job. And Michael Whatley is going to be very much in charge, and you'll get it done. And FEMA's ready to rock. They haven't done the job because they weren't really told to do the job by Biden. I guess Biden was thinking about other things, wasn't he? But they weren't told. What they did, what the past administration did to North Carolina is a disgrace. So I just want to wish you all well. I was here right after the event, and I couldn't believe it. I have never seen anything like it. I've seen a lot of bad things, but I've never seen anything like it. And it's an honor to meet the people behind me, and it's an honor to be with our congressional delegation and some of the other politicians in the area. And it's an honor to have Michael Whatley at my side, because maybe we wouldn't be standing here as president if he wasn't. Him and Laura Trump were unbelievable as the head of the Republican Party. So he happens to come from a place called North Carolina. So I said, Michael, fix it. So good luck. Good luck. And we'll supply what you need. You know that. Okay? Thank you. Thank you all very much. Thank you very much.
Heartbreaking stories, and how there's been so many local groups stepped up to assist.
Yeah, that's one of the things you hear.
Any talk on having money instead of going to FEMA and going through the bureaucracy to go to them?
That's what I want to do. We want to bring it locally so that a state takes care of its problem, and then they can bring it down to a local level. like Samaritan's Purse and Franklin, because that's one of the better examples. But you had numbers of people that did a great job. You have groups that did a great job and organizations. The one that didn't do a good job was the government. They did a bad job. They did, in many ways, they did no job. They weren't even available. So, good question. The answer is we go local. I think it'll work much better. FEMA is a very expensive organization that really doesn't work out very well. It hasn't. This is not the only example. So it was up to me right now. It ended right now, and I just let the state take care of the problem. I mean, you can always have problems. Let the state. If it's Florida, it's a hurricane. Let Florida take care of it. They don't need FEMA to come in. Yeah.
Is it in FEMA, outside of FEMA?
Yeah, I envision a very important role for him. It's any role he wants. He's a very capable guy, Michael Watley, a very capable guy, and he's friends and works with these guys, keeps them elected, right? They have to do a good job. Otherwise, no matter how good Michael is, not going to work. But they've done an amazing job. They've been great. You're lucky you have great congressmen here. And woman, by the way, a great woman, very powerful woman. And they're going to do a great job. They'll do it together. They'll work together, and we'll supply what they need as they need it. We'll coordinate that, and we will immediately get the Army Corps, Michael, because you need roads built. We're talking about the bridge. We're talking about roads and things. So we got to get them built, all right? Okay? Thank you all very much. Thank you very much.
And President Trump there in Swannanoa, North Carolina, which was devastated so horribly by the rains from Hurricane Helene, listening to personal stories of hardship and grief and pledging that his administration will do everything it can to set things right. Sandra, there are a lot of areas around western North Carolina that look exactly like they did back on September the 20th.
It's inexcusable. It is absolutely inexcusable what the Biden administration did to these people. Yeah, they're white. Yeah, they're not, movie stars or rock stars or rappers. They're God-fearing mountain people, and you abused them. You abuse these people. God have mercy on you. God have mercy on Mayorkas. God have mercy on Kamala, because what you've done to people who are in our constituency is inexcusable. There's nothing you can say why these people 4 or 5 months later still are living out of tents or in Winnebagos. It just doesn't make any sense. You're living in a motorhome and your broken down house is sitting right behind you. Unreal. I personally don't understand it. It abhors me. It makes me mad, as I've noticed some of you guys are like, it brought to tears. And in addition, which you cannot forget, in addition to all of this, the media ignored it. Yes, Fox showed a little bit of it, but CNN, MSNBC, CBS, NBC, ABC, where are you? How did you guys just ignore all of this human suffering because of partisan politics? So much is wrong in this country. And as I said earlier, just the appearance of Donald Trump, just him shining a bright light on this stuff, makes it look like, yeah, it's amazing what he's done in 4 days, because it is common sense. Everybody watching's like, yeah, fix it. Yeah, get them the money. What do you mean you got to fix a road and a bridge? What? It's such like, duh, do this. As I said earlier, me living in Florida, I've seen people having to rebuild after her. I think it was the same hurricane, Ron DeSantis built a bridge. A whole flipping bridge in a couple weeks. These kind of things, and our media sucking, is what is going to change this country. I'm heartbroken, because I also have a personal touch to that area. Robin's entire family is up in them hills, and it's beautiful country. The people, there's no racism. Robin's a white woman. I'm black. no racism whatsoever, just open arms. Hey, come on in. I ate so much that first meal, and then the first time I met her dad, and I was a little weary because I'm like up here in the mountain. The only experience I had in the mountain was watching Deliverance. And I walk up to the house and he's like, hey, come on with me. I'm like, oh boy, where are we going? Robin. And I get in his truck and he drives me to a church. And I'm like, we're going to church? And so we had to get chairs and put those in the back of his truck because we're having a big picnic and everything. And we loaded up and we just talked. And that was his getting to know me moment. He hadn't met me yet. And so we're driving and I'm like, hey, grab a bunch of these chairs, big boy. I'm like, number one, I ain't a boy, but I'll accept it because you just said it. But then we just packed up the truck and drove back. And I got to meet relatives and friends and family and all kinds of things and realize that these people they love God and they like to be left alone. That's my dog out there. Just leave us alone. Let us live our lives. This is crazy. Trump is trying to get you to trust him enough so he can release the. I'm not going to put that up there. Couldn't have said it any better, Barry. Yeah, just everyday people. So now he's going to do this, and then from here he's going to be heading to California. Fox is bringing somebody on here. Let's just take a listen to this real quick. Oh no, he's replaying what Trump said with Franklin Graham, and then he's got another homeowner getting ready to talk. So I know we've been here for a while, but let's just listen to what this homeowner has to say to what Trump said.
But our government failed the people of North Carolina in this horrible crisis.
Ian, the president said moments ago that he's going to make up for lost time. Do you have hope that he will be dialed in on this situation, this tragedy, this ongoing disaster in a way that the Biden White House never was?
I mean, we have hope for sure, but, around here we all have a pretty big distrust for the federal government right now. We feel like they've left us all hanging to handle this ourselves, and, the country stepped up to do that. The local people have stepped up to do that. We've had God on our side every step, and we're grateful that the people have been here. But as far as the federal government, we're kind of at a we'll believe it when we see it stage, but we're definitely hopeful that it comes,
So what's the situation there? I've seen pictures of some areas that look like the hurricane, as I mentioned a moment ago, came through yesterday. Do they still look like that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the vast majority of the area still looks like the hurricane came through yesterday. There's been some cleanup, but not anything like you would think would be done in 4 months from when the hurricane hit.
So the president said, as he was leaving the White House, and he reiterated it again when he landed in Fletcher, that FEMA really has not stepped up to the plate like it needs to be, and that he says changes are ahead. Listen to how he put it.
And FEMA is going to be a whole big discussion very shortly, because I'd rather see the states take care of their own problems, and then the federal government can help them out with the money. The FEMA is getting in the way of everything, and the Democrats actually use FEMA not to help North Carolina.
The president said he's likely going to sign an executive order overhauling FEMA, and he said moments ago there in Swannanoa that what he would like to see, particularly in western North Carolina, is a situation where money that would have gone to FEMA for disaster relief would actually flow to local organizations like yours, who have been doing such an amazing job at helping people try to get back up on their feet. What do you think of that plan?
I think that's a phenomenal plan if that actually went through. Seeing is believing once again, but we've been here since day one. We've had volunteers on the ground with us from all over the country that have just left their lives on hold to be here. We've had volunteers all the way from Italy, and, I think anybody in the area will tell you that the local organizations have handled this a lot better than the federal government has so far.
Yeah, we've certainly done. I was just going to say we've certainly done a lot of coverage of what.
Funding, John.
I'm sure you would. We've done a lot of coverage of what organizations like Wine to Water had been doing, organizations like yours, Founder Valley Strong, Disaster Relief, Samaritan's Purse, and others who, as you pointed out, folks literally dropped everything to pitch in and do what they can. Ian Motley, great to catch up with you. Thank you so much.
You as well.
All right.
All right, so he took a big magnifying glass with a spotlight and put it all over North Carolina, which is what I think he intended to do when he get there, in addition to getting rid of FEMA. So I'm glad you guys stuck around for the entire 3 hours of what I thought was going to be about an hour's long show, but I appreciate you being here. Let me go ahead and acknowledge super chats so we can go and get ready for 3:30 if there are any in here. Thank you, Fernando. Thank you very much. Viking King, in my entire lifetime, not once until now have I seen a president get one-on-one, face-to-face with the people of the nation. He leads in crisis time. He reached out and really listened. Absolutely. He just met with these people. Kathy Bennett, thank you very much. Love your channel. Barry Maga, thank you very much. Where's this one? Julie McClure. Julie, Putin wants Fauci as part of a negotiation to prosecute for crimes against humanity. I say let him have Fauci. I say let's deliver him. Besides let him have it, let's go ahead and deliver him. 5150 Prepper. Barry, thank you for being dependable, entertaining, and knowledgeable as to what's going on. Greatly appreciate it. I appreciate you. Thank you very, very much. Let's see. Mike says, may God protect our great President Trump and his family. What a resource. I mean, when you see these things happening, you realize this man is what this country needed. Mama Mima, I live in Western EWCD school district in Southern California. Put out information to families on legal aid and how to evade ICE. I could not believe it. They openly, they're trying to keep these people in the country. It's more important to them. Viking King, if the boss is leading off with all of this, just consider what his long game is going to be. You're right. If this is day 4, can't imagine what's coming up. Lauren Gray, I read that Trump was redirecting $2 billion that was supposed to go to illegals to the hurricane victims. I hope so. I hope that's announced very shortly. Shashone Girl, thank you very much. Barry, you are reaching the world. Poland, South Africa, UK, Canada in the house today, making the world again. Thank you very much for everybody from wherever you are for tuning in. Vote Viking King again. We also need voter ID here in Washington State. It should be the law of the land. It shouldn't even be an issue. Hopefully, things will go so well that by time 2026 comes around, there is a supermajority to get it done. From Ryan, Trump's done more in 4 days than Biden did in 4 years. Yep. And when you see that, you have to realize you're talking about something obviously intentional, not just being incompetent. That's definitely intentional. What do we got here? Somebody mentioned that Trump gave $25 million of his own money. Dave Villa, Barry, voter ID for elections as citizens or legal resident IDs for the census. Yeah. Demon of Cybertron. Hey, bud. California is about to turn Kool-Aid red. Yeah, it will. It will. If they get voter ID, it will definitely turn red for a long time. Cajun Scully, Trump is renaming UK to FUK. James Bonds, Trump is a true president. Yeah, you're seeing it. I don't know how people can see this stuff and think otherwise. Well, that's because they're not seeing it. I wonder how many news channels even covered that. Rodney Lee, Trump is a superhero compared to Biden. Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? Let's see here. Stephen Rhodes, Barry Kids Trump guy charged me $29 and $7.99 without my permission. All right, so Stephen, if they charged you, number one, I don't know where you would have to put your credit card in, but let me know and send me an email, and I will also get a hold of them and let them know that you were charged not the way you're supposed to. So send us an email, and I will get a hold of them. Let's see, where do we go? Stephen Sturgill, when is Trump going to do executive order on no tax on tip? It's coming, and no tax on Social Security. Definitely coming. Mr. Mike, I definitely wouldn't mind having any race, gender, ethnicity as long as all of them are MAGA. I think you're referring to my question about Scott Presler. Yes, thank you. Beverly Litton, how was Schiff able to move Pam Bondi's after confirmation back 7 days? He used some parliamentary procedure to push it back. So, but that's okay. It'll get done. Barry, do you think, this is from Barb Johnson, do you think Mark Wayne Mullen would do a good interview? Ashley, that definitely would like to talk to him. Ashley, mark it down. I think he's going to be a good fighter and may need a little love. Also, Coach Tuberville. I would love to get Tommy Tuberville in here. Old football coach. I love talking to football coach. You'd probably hear me say, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I just can't help it when I'm talking to football coaches. Frank Masso, thank you very much. Scott won us Pennsylvania. He is mega MAGA. Yeah, we got to get him on, Ashley. Beverly Litton, Scott Presler rocks. He fought to win Pennsylvania. James Bonds again. Trump is doing good. Barry, at how are you doing? I'm doing well. Just my frog in my throat. Beverly Litton used to be saying, put a lid on it, meaning we were done. Yeah, that's exactly what Biden would do every day at noon. MAGA Mama, there isn't enough coffee to keep up with President Trump, Barry. You need to be the press secretary. I couldn't do that job, but you're absolutely right, man. This guy is. Can you imagine? You left the East Coast. You left Washington. North Carolina is still in the East Coast. Now you're flying all the way to California. Then you're flying to Nevada. Then you're coming back to South Florida. As you heard Congressman Timmons says, there's a big GOP dinner at the Doral Country Club. And Congressman Timmons knows it because he mentioned the Blue Monster, which is the beautiful golf course there, one of them. Amber Angel, do you remember laughter? All will be revealed. I gave away a hoodie about that. Yes, you touched me with that because that was the second part. All will be revealed. Melissa Stewart, thank you very much for keeping us updated on the news. Love me some Trump, and our first lady is beautiful. She's looking like a mafia hitman over there. Nikki Esselman Berry, it's 2 here. -2 here. I will take 50 degrees. Yeah, I realize I shouldn't be complaining about the temperature being 50 here. Stephen Sturgill, watch Alaskan Governor Mike Dunleavy press conference on YouTube after you come off live. Type in Mike Levy, what Biden has done to Alaska. I'd like to see that. Definitely like to see that. Amber Angel, thank you very much. And Haley Orozco, good morning, Barry. Already noticing gas is dropping here in Texas, $2.79 to $2.59. Super thankful as an Uber driver. Ooh, very nice, $2.59. That's crazy. That's crazy good. Cassandra Paquin Fine Arts. Barry, my biggest fear with letting the states handle disasters is like NC, some governor. It won't be free. You're not just going to dump a bunch of money in their hands. I think Trump is going to be setting up something at this point. He's going to start with Newsom is going to be the guinea pig. Here's what he's going to do. And they're going to tweak it. But you got to do this. And only so much money at a time are you going to basically get given to you. You're not getting $20 million. Janet Wagner, thank you, Barry, for your outstanding coverage of everything Trump. I watch you all day. Love your perspective on things. Thank you very much. Yeah, my heart breaks for these people as well. Hello, Joy. Thank you. Looked for you last night, Barry. Did you see any of the sites? Trump is the people's president, for sure. Yeah, I took the night off like I had planned on taking the night off tonight because we had the early show and then we're going to have I think 3:30. It might be 4 because I want to give him time to travel and I got to have lunch. Let's see, where was I? Who's that? Cassandra. Sam Byler and team deserve a presidential commendation for all they've done in North Carolina with the tiny houses. Over $1 million donated. Yeah, they've done a really good job. And lastly, Gwen T. What about using the Army Corps of Engineers? yeah, I got to believe that they're definitely going to have to incorporate them for sure, especially with the road and bridge building. Yeah, for sure. And born on the 4th, great coverage and interviews. Kudos to Ashley and Maz. Thank you very much. Ashley's doing a bang-up job, and I appreciate everything she does. Love that girl. Love that girl. All right, everybody. I put up the other banner, so I'm going to jump here. I'm going to go get ready, have some lunch, talk to the wife. Oh, boy. It looks as though... I said, oh, boy, because look what we got here.
Or the prospect of one react not with joy but with concern. They wonder, how can they afford it? What will it mean for their education, their career, their relationship, or their family? And I know how many of you in this crowd have devoted immeasurable time and resources to help answer those questions and to lend a hand to young people facing a moment of desperation. But by and large, our society, our country, has not yet stepped up in the way you have. And our government certainly has failed in that important responsibility. We failed a generation not only by permitting a culture of abortion on demand, but also by neglecting to help young parents achieve the ingredients they need to live a happy and meaningful life. A culture of radical individualism took root. One where the responsibilities and joys of family life were seen as obstacles to overcome, not as personal fulfillment or personal blessings. Our society has failed to recognize the obligation that one generation has to another is a core part of living in a society to begin with. So let me say very simply, I want more babies in the United States of America. I want more happy children in our country. And I want beautiful young men and women who are eager to welcome them into the world and eager to raise them. And it is the task of our government to make it easier for young moms and dads to afford to have kids, to bring them into the world, and to welcome them as the blessings that we know they are here at the March for Life. Now, it should be easier to raise a family, easier to find a good job, easier to build a home, to raise that family in, easier to save up and purchase a good stroller, a crib for a nursery. We need a culture that celebrates life at all stages, one that recognizes and truly believes that the benchmark of national success is not our GDP number or our stock market, but whether people feel that they can raise thriving and healthy families in our country. And that brings me back to where we stand today. Earlier this week, President Donald J. Trump stood in the Capitol Rotunda and took the oath of office, becoming not just the 45th, but now the 47th President of the United States. And I know all of you helped. With the inauguration on Monday, our country faces the return of the most pro-family, most pro-life American president of our lifetimes. Now, this is the man who delivered on his promise of ending Roe, giving us a monumental, earth-shattering decision in Dobbs. The man who appointed hundreds of pro-life judges dedicated to defending the constitutional liberties of all Americans. And the man who supported pro-family policies like doubling the child tax credit, which happened during his first administration and which we're going to do so much more on in the second administration. Now he's back, and we're going to do it again. Now, yesterday, President Trump issued a strong endorsement of the born-alive abortion act ensuring that those babies who survived botched abortions enjoy the equal protection under law, which is the obligation of every citizen to enjoy in this country. With his return to office, no longer will the federal government direct FBI raids on the homes of people like Mark Houck and other Catholic and Christian activists who are fighting for the unborn every single day. And no longer will our government throw pro-life protesters and activists, elderly, grandparents, or anybody else in prison. It stopped on Monday, and we're not going to let it come back to this country. Instead, and I know you all saw the news, the 47th president has already issued pardons to those unjustly imprisoned. And I want to be clear that this administration stands by you, we stand with you, and most importantly, we stand with the most vulnerable and the basic principle that people exercising the right to protest on behalf of the most vulnerable should never have the government go after them ever again. Now, the crowd assembled here in this incredible national mall provides an extraordinary example for our nation. You donate to diaper banks, you help find housing for those in need, you help fund the crisis pregnancy centers that give help to young women and young men in a time of crisis. You guys are the beating heart of the pro-life movement, and you have saved many lives already, and you're going to save more again. You being here this very March is a reminder of the incredible strength and unity of the pro-life movement. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for marching here today. And most importantly, in your works, you remind us that the March for Life is not just a single event that happens on a frigid January day. The March for Life is the work of the pro-life movement every single day from this point forward. Now, it is a lifelong call to action, a moment in time. But every single day that you guys do what you do, from supporting young moms and dads, to fighting for the unborn, to working with our legislatures at the state and federal level, you make it possible for us to stand here and say that America is fundamentally a pro-baby, a pro-life, and a pro-family country. Now, I hesitate to give you all advice because I can see there are young and old people who have been in the pro-life movement, some of you for longer than I've even been alive, and I'm grateful to you. But if I can offer one piece of advice, it's a piece of advice born out of my own experience. There was a point when I would get frustrated with people who didn't see what we saw. I would get frustrated that people could look at a picture of a baby on an ultrasound and see not a human being, but just a clump of cells. But one of the things that being a father has taught me, and one of the things that being in politics has taught me over the last couple of years, is that it is a blessing to know the truth, and the truth is that unborn life is worthy of protection. So please go forth, not with frustration, but with joy. We are joyful to march for life. We are joyful to know that that picture on an ultrasound, that is a picture of a baby with hopes and dreams and potential to come. It is a joy and a blessing to fight for the unborn, to work for the unborn, and to march for life. God bless you all, and thank you for having me. It's an honor to be with you.
JD Van.
All right, before somebody else comes out and makes a speech, I'm going to go to lunch. Oh, thank you for tuning in for 3.5 hours. If you did, going to try and make 3:30, maybe 4 o'clock, depending on when Trump is going to be talking to Newsom out there in California. It's Friday, right? Well, yeah, I got to tell Robin, it's supposed to be Friday. Love you guys. Thank you. We'll be back in a little while.